turn off the music. And welcome back to another episode of By the Dice in Nox Vitalia. Before we get into tonight's rest, recuperation, recovering, etc.
Oh, it was you this time!
Yep, I'm the guilty party.
Yeah, it wasn't me. Yeah, it wasn't me. Last few times it's been me.
Wasn't me. It was, and then I'm going to be a complete Jim Carrey about it. It was me! Okay, that being said, welcome back. And, so, before we get into tonight's festivities and everything that's been gone and a recap of what happened last week, announcements.
So, just want to say thank you to Rare Earth for providing all our Old Toby that we smoke. Great flower at great prices, a little local shop here in Eugene. You can come in and check us out at 2880 Elmira Road, 21 and over, please.
And thank you as always to Reptiles for providing paper and ink and whatnot. Currently, for printed out notes of the sessions.
Speaking of which, can I borrow that?
Yeah.
It'll help me. It'll help me with my narrative.
You can keep it.
And also, thank you for tonight's music to Martia's Muses. The link to the actual track used is in there, or in the description. And as always, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. The likes really do help. They boost the algorithm. The shares, well, somebody might be. And comments, interact. We'd like to hear from you guys. We actually love reading.
We have a chat moderator tonight, so I'd like to shout out thank you to Topanga for hanging out in our chat room today.
Yes, actually, yeah, thank you. We've been needing that. And does anybody else have anything?
Thank you to me and Chris for food.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. Thank you to Chris and Pudgy tonight for food.
For
Because-
delicious food.
Sandwiches and artichoke
Not just
parmesan
sandwiches.
spinach dip.
Croissant sandwiches or something.
Croissant sandwiches, yeah.
Well, I think everybody's had it, everybody that wants some, so.
Wait, who hasn't had sandwiches? You
I've had one, and I had a huge sandwich before everybody else even got here, or Pudgy got back with the sandwiches.
I've had 2 sandwiches already.
I've had 2.
I've had two.
I've only had 1.
Okay.
Okay. So I think the last 2 are you and Topanga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
See?
I'm good. I'm snacking on pistachios.
Okay, then I'll have Topanga.
That's what I was about to say.
I was going to say, if she wanted her, she would have ate it.
Jordan,
now.
you want yours?
No, not right now, thank you.
Alright, cool.
Just for future
So-
reference, Liz, those are not as cool as my sandwiches.
No, his sandwiches are the shit.
my croissant sandwiches are amazing.
Ah,
Well,
and with that,
Because they're too expensive.
let's get into tonight's episode of By the Dice. So, last time that we were roaming around Nox Vitalia dealing with Evermist, the party had found themselves in town and woke on a very, very cold morning. They found that there were some form of devilish ice creatures terrorizing the local townsfolk and people, and among other things that were basically laying utter decimation to the town was a frost salamander. As we pick up our story, we know that Viridia has found her way back to the tea house. Aspen has returned to her rooms. Kalora gave chase and had stopped at the bar after that nightmare. Ronan put a few things back, but is still in the market squares. So, Ronan, where are you? If this would be the market-ish area where the fountain was, you would probably be, knickknacks actually would have been where you were robbing. So that'll work. You were robbing Uncle Knickknack.
I wasn't robbing, I was only borrowing with the intent to pay for in the future.
Fair. Yeah. Aside from that, Wisp, while you have the salamander's head, and it would have died somewhere right about here, had you moved anywhere past there at that point? Or are you still standing in the square with a 7 foot, give or take, wide salamander
I
head?
went to the same bar where Meridian.
Okay, so would
Oh,
you
the
be
tea
in the
house?
bar? Would you be in the tea house, or would you be out back with her in the garden?
I don't know. I went to the tea house and gave her the eyeballs. I don't know where I went from there.
Okay, so you would probably still be at the tea house, and that would have put you out in the garden, because Viridia went out back versus tracking a very large liver through the main eatery. She was very easy to find and track down, though. I mean, everything's frozen in ice, and there's this nice long trail of frost salamander blood just behind her at this point. It kind of looks like a slug trail, only a weird purplish red. And Aspen, you're cleaning up. Viridia, you're there. And just to make this all easier, these ones don't exist for anyone at that point because that's all 5 of you. I need everybody to go ahead and roll initiative so I can figure out who's going to kickstart this jump.
Yep. Here goes your test.
So far, you might not go well. Don't forget to add your dex bonus. It is a dexterity saving throw.
For me. 8 for me.
8 for you, 9 for you, Aspen.
Yeah.
13.
11 plus 4 is 15.
Okay, so what'd you do? How'd you do?
16.
So
16.
16, 15.
So it goes
13.
Uh-huh.
Wisp, Ronan,
Flora.
Aspen.
Aspen.
And then Viridia.
You better start rolling better. You've been being evil since before game. Oh, and thank you to Pudgy for this really cool little pen thingy that locks itself.
That's super cool.
It's really handy for doing this doing the out of character or out of combat initiative, honestly, because I can keep it right where I can see it on here. So, let's see here. That being the case, Wisp, you're still out back of the tea house. You've just handed off the eyeballs to Viridia. You still have the head. All 8 feet of it. You could fit inside it.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's got less flesh on it because, you know, I'm hungry. I'm always hungry.
Are you going to try and take a bite out of this thing?
I've been nibbling on it. Why not?
Okay,
Oh god.
I'm going to give you... Do you want to use a reaction, Viridia?
To take a bite out?
No. Do you want to use... You are watching him nibble on this head after prying the eyes out. I'm going to give you the option to use a reaction on this turn.
Yes, I will. No, don't! Stop!
Okay. Why?
It will freeze you.
Okay.
Like it could make your heart stop.
Okay.
Definitely do not go around eating strange creatures in the forest.
quiz. How do you feel about this?
I guess it's always fun to experiment. I don't know.
That's a
And I-
great way to get dead, you know. I mean, we're not exactly friends or anything, but I don't want to see you just like keel over dead.
How many bites would you say you've taken of this thing?
I don't know. 2, 4, 12, 15.
Yeah.
I can take it.
2? We'll say 2 but for your own safety. Go ahead and roll a constitution check for me, please.
Check or save?
Save.
17.
Oh, you do notice that as Verdi is saying these things to you, like, it's the tip of your nose, as you look down, taking a bite of it, is starting to grow little ice crystals off the tip.
Okay.
And, I think maybe she's right.
Okay.
Do you want to keep eating? Alright. So, sitting here out back at the tea house, where would you like to head from here? It is your turn. Where are you taking your head?
I'm gonna start heading towards someplace that has gemstones to see if I can do a trade of sorts. I don't know. Like magical gems or gemstones.
Alright, so you're gonna head yourself over towards, do you want a magic shop or do you want a jewelry store?
I don't know. I'm trying to find black pearls, crushed black pearls, so
I would recommend magic shop,
okay.
which is there. So, it will take, so you start making your trek out. It actually takes you, give or take, about, you turn with the head and you take about 15-20 minutes to get all the way pretty much across town from where the tea shop is.
Okay.
Coming up on this shop, they have all kinds of odd things, and indeed they do have crushed black pearl in a large jar, to be perfectly frank.
Okay.
They sell it by the dram, basically.
Alright.
The proprietor is a small, almost looks gnomish type person, a little bit green.
Alright.
You'd swear that they could be a goblin, but not quite. They just kind of look up at you. And say, oh. And look at that thing. What the? And I'll help you.
My companions and I saved the village or the town from this creature. I was wondering if you would be interested in doing a trade for the head and its components for a few drams of black pearl.
What? Black pearl. Well, what is it?
It's a frost salamander head.
It adds up. How did you? I mean, I know the wards on my shop were good, but they were a frost salamander rampaging through town.
Yeah,
I missed it.
you were frozen.
No, I'm pretty sure I was quite thawed.
Maybe, but everybody else was pretty frozen.
Oh, I know what it was. I've been in the booze this morning. Probably when I was taking my nap. Can't wake up drunk. So, you just want a couple drams of black pearl
Yep, that's all I require
for the old head?
for the whole head.
You sure?
Unless there's something else that you think I might need or you're willing to give me.
Well, what do
yes,
you
that's all I
need?
need. That's all I need. There's a
Well,
few dreams of
you
the
figure
retro.
you got, and he starts counting inside of its mouth. We've got at least 146 teeth here. We've got, well, the eyes are missing. That's a shame. We could use those for things. He taps on the skull, hears that it's not hollow. The brain's still intact. Good bit of the meat left. Pulls out the tongue. It's fresh and the tongue's still here. What do you want? We don't quite often get things from the plane of ice on the material plane, so the fact you've got the head of one is kind of what kind of things are you looking for?
Crushed black pearl.
You only want 2 grams. I mean, I could give you the jar and
The jar works. I'm also looking for other magical items, magical armor or
well,
jewelry or. I'm always on the lookout for something new.
looks at you and says, "Well, sir, something new. Something new."
I need a pet, like a ninja squirrel.
Like a ninja squirrel.
Hell yeah!
Well,
If I can have whatever I want a damn ninja squirrel.
well, I don't have. What's a ninja? I know what a squirrel is.
It's a squirrel that wears all black and can stealth and attack whenever I want it to.
Oh, well, I don't have one of those. But just excuse me 1 second. And he goes into the back, and he comes out, and he has a very ornate, what looks like jade box
Okay.
with ruby encrustings across it and a very nice gold filigree.
Okay.
So the really pretty, sexy box.
Okay.
And he said, well, and he opens it up, and inside of it, he's like, I don't have a squirrel that'll do that, but I do have this. And what he pulls out is a mechanical looking, almost a scarab. It has what looks like fire opal inlays down the wings on the outer carapace.
Okay.
So it will attack what you want it to, when you want it to. It'll do what you say. It's sentient. You might want to make friends, because if it decides it doesn't like you, well, it will attack you. It's not cursed or anything, I promise you that. But it can stealth, and I mean, it's the size of it's a really large beetle by your standards. It's not a Mason.
Alright.
But it can stealth, and it's kind of hard to find. And he goes and he scratches right behind where you would see like the pins, like right where the abdomen meets the thorax,
Okay.
and it turns all black. Like the fire in the wings went out,
Yeah.
and he looks at us, show him, and then it bursts out a gout of flame that fills the entire box and goes up towards the ceiling, almost touching the rafters. It's like, it'd put a hole in my wall if I hadn't had them in the box when I did it.
Okay. I'll take that and the jar. We'll call it even.
Right, sounds good to me.
Alright, cool.
That's how much the jar is worth.
5,000 gold.
Perfect.
So 10 uses of that is what you're going to get out of that jar. By the way, the jar also weighs 5 pounds.
Alright.
Black pearls are actually
You must have read them, right?
semi-common in Evermist. Especially since they just came from especially since an airship just came in from afar.
Yes.
All right.
And while you're coordinating yourself,
I got a jar. Sorry.
this is what you hear. This is what you say as you go skipping out of the magic shop, and we move on down our happy little list to Ronan. Finds himself in a Glocknack shop.
Is there anybody there yet that I could pay for the items that I procured
No.
while saving the town?
No, you can hear the ice starting to crack on the buildings where Viridia had lit the braziers and where Aspen had lit a chunk of the square. I mean,
I did carpet bomb like that whole front gate.
yeah, and you did then proceed to cover it entirely in snow, thus fixing the problem and putting out the fire. It was covered entirely in snow, thus fixing the problem and putting out the
Needed
fire.
the snow.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. Wisp did do the snow. So the snowball did put out the fire, and yes, you were standing there in the middle of a semi-sizzling square, looking at a very trough-sized pile of decimation and cold that made its way into the town. And there's nobody near this square other than you. Here, you can see Wisp go into a magic shop as he ducks between alleys, because he wasn't trying to hide going from the tea shop to there. He's carrying a salamander's head.
No.
You would have seen him through the alleyway as you walked by.
But I've seen him leave, hearing him yell like he's singing.
You wouldn't have heard him leave yet because these things would happen at the same time.
Yep.
Well, I guess I'll leave like 10 gold for the items that I took, and at least as a down payment. If they need more, I can always come back and give them more.
Okay, so there's an extra 10 gold in their coffers?
Yep.
Alright, and where you heading?
I want to. I want to go find something to eat.
So you're gonna go back to the cheerful traveler where you've been staying, or the tavern where you were basically given accommodations. There is a cheap inn and a tavern well within sight of you. I mean, the inn looks kind of run down and like it looks like the kind of place where you could get a room for 10 coppers, or for silver or copper without trouble.
Oh, I've
They'll
already.
let you sleep by the hearth.
Yeah, they've already given. I already have accommodations. I just want some good food. So.
Well, there's food there. There's also, you can also see where there are very frozen food carts.
What
Like,
kind of food carts?
well, like hot foods, like street vendor type stuff.
Yeah, like kebabs and like.
Yeah, they're quite frozen into their cart right now, as is the owner. Because that would be right here about kitty corner from you. There is a fine dining establishment, if you'll remember, even from last week. It was on the map.
Yeah.
And
It's frozen. There's really no one there.
well, there's no one outside of the building, but you can hear the ice cracking around the door from where Viridia did light the brazier there.
I guess we'll just go back to wherever there's someone that can feed me.
Okay, so
Because if all these places are like shut down or frozen or I can't get into them, I need to go where I can.
fair. So as you come back, you do see that the main fires at the inn have been relit.
Okay.
So all through here, there's a large group of people huddled, and the doors in, you can smell the cook fires going, and it's obvious that the smells of food and hearty stews waft through. You do see Calora sitting at a corner under the bars, still covered in blood. There's a trail of blood going up the stairs with very small children's footprints attached to it that you could only assume would be Aspen's. Because she didn't bother to wipe her feet going in the door. She'd had a really rough moment just then.
I
Just
had a
like,
bad morning.
I'm going straight to my room.
Right.
Screw this.
Yep. typical 12-year-old put tantrum. It's the end of the world.
Almost was.
Yes, it was almost.
So I just walk in, sit down at a table, and ask what's the special.
After a few moments, a young wood elf woman, couldn't be more than maybe, she looks like she's maybe just barely an adult, comes up. Right, well, how can I help you, sir?
What's the special?
Food.
I'll take a helping of that.
Oh, stew. We just got so much stew.
I'll take a.
I haven't made a roast in weeks.
I'll take some stew, and maybe a pint.
Right, be right back. And she looks much, you've seen this woman here forever. She's always seems to be working either behind the bar or waiting tables. It seems that everybody is always very nice to her. But at the same time, seems to be the only one working right now. And she's got a very, very full house because a very large chunk of the town just got turned into an ice patty.
Yeah.
Well, so after about 10 minutes or so, she comes back. Here you go. Sorry, I had to thin the stew pot. I mean, what else are you gonna do? All these people got no place else to be. I can at least warm their bellies.
I understand.
The way the day is, don't worry about it, your lordship. It's not a big deal. Besides, we all saw what you done. I've been here a long time, but I couldn't take care of that.
Well, thank you. Anyways, here's a silver just for your kind heart.
Oh, no, it's all right. I'll be fine. I mean,
I insist.
my staff's paid.
I insist.
I gave him the day off. That's why I'm here and working.
I insist. Take the
Just
silver.
leave it on the table then. Somebody will get it who needs it. And then she turns very quickly before you can protest any further, and grabs the pint, and grabs a pitcher and sits them on your table, and wanders back off to go check on other tables and start about her business. The stew does look a little thin. You're pretty sure that it's a combination of whatever meats you all have managed to hunt over the last week. So it would be a combination of like deer, I'm pretty sure a couple boar for those of you who are feeling a bit more adventurous and have a larger experience hunting. There's a lot of wild tubers and roots and things of that nature. Wisp, you were teaching children to hunt, so there is more venison than she knows what to do with in this stew, and quite a few rabbits, snow rabbits.
Because I got skills.
And because you were teaching small children.
Right. I got skills.
There are wild carrots and potatoes and a few kinds of wild greens that you all could swear you saw Viridia bring a bale or two back throughout the week. It seems like she's managed to make what would have been considered your standard wilderness fare into something a little bit extra, and you're not sure how. Because yeah, basically that was just hyper protein wilderness stew recipe.
Nice.
Potatoes, wild carrots, wild cabbage and watercress, venison, rabbit, squirrel, and boar. Did anybody try for a bear while they were hunting?
I always hunt for bear. I'm
Okay.
a hungry kitty.
Yeah, and you were trying to feed an entire village, so.
I'd be going for bear too.
Let's be realistic. I was just trying to eat, a frozen salamander's head.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
You were just trying to eat its head. The whole head. Nothing but the head.
Yep.
Alright, so let's see here. Well, you did not find a bear. Mainly because there were just no bears in the area at the time. They actually have a pretty wide range, and it is winter, so they'd be hibernating.
I mean, it's also because the children are kind of loud.
Yeah, kids would definitely frighten off a bear. And that will bring us around the table to, I believe it is Colora, who finds herself at the bar. About halfway through this would be when Ronan is walking. If you even bother to notice. So, what you doing?
I had a pint and then I was going to go back to the salamander to work with butchering it.
Alright, so you're going to head back out. You have your pint, and then you just kind of head out.
I am going to stop by the blacksmith on my way.
Alright, so that would put you right about here.
Yeah.
Liz, this part you're going to love. And as you get to the blacksmith's shop, there's a sign on it that says, "Orders in back."
Ah.
And it appears that there's a house attached, and there's a large picture window facing this alley avenue next to, wedged firmly between a fine spirits store, and it's next to a park. It looks like the house attaches to the park, and there's a vending area, and you can see that people are kind of checking out wares, muddling through the park and things of that nature. And it says, "Orders in back."
I'm going to go to the bed.
So, as you wander around down through this back alley here, and you smell fresh baked bread coming from the bakery to your right, a little blue hobgoblin woman, just working herself happily away at some point, baking and making pastries, has filled the morning with something that sounds warm, as she apparently has gotten the fires lit again. Don't know her name, but she's there. And as you walk, you hear the ringing of a hammer and open it up. What you see is kind of unnerving from your point of view. Rather,
I think that's the highest.
she's kind of a medium-built woman, roughly human size, so figure maybe about 5'6", 135, 140 pounds. Not a very big thing at all, really, but she's got some muscle to her, and it's obvious. Swinging a hammer, her hair looking like fire itself, flying to the ceiling. Ringing out, a set of goggles placed firmly over her eyes as the sparks shine, and an ear-to-ear grin as she's working on a very long sword. She wears very heavy, like thick boiled leather armor, chainmail, and doesn't seem to even notice you. Her skin looks like ashes, and you can almost see the glow of her eyes through the goggles. You'd swear it, but you're not sure. And there's something about runic glowing on her skin as with every strike.
Good, hard, loud knock, knock, knock. Not a, "Excuse me, miss," and definitely not standing there till I startled her. Good, solid knock, knock, knock.
I need you to roll a hit. You're not going to break that door. I know what it's made out of. But and what are you wearing for armor on your hands? Are they plate, chain, leather, what?
Currently, well, they're normally half plate, but currently my gloves are on my hip.
Okay.
I rolled a 2 to knock on the door.
Well, roll a d6 and relocate your knuckles.
It's a 4, so take 4 points of damage and relocate my knuckles. Okay.
Your squawk and your shriek catch her attention as you hear the beat of her hammer stop. She drops the goggles down around her neck, and you can see that the ash is actually just from the flux, and the skin underneath is almost a peachish or a pinkish tone. She's like, "Oh, can I help you?"
Hi, Yes, I don't think milady is the correct term here. And I pull out the 2 imperfect salamander claws that I still have. I pull them up and go, would these be enough trade for a fix for my beak?
What are those?
These are frost salamander claws. I've got nothing better to do with them.
She goes, looks at you. See that workbench over there? Away from my fires? Go sit them there.
Go over and put them exactly where told.
She goes over to one of her multiple workbenches, this one looking more like a tinkerer's bench. It has many little parts and things on it. And she pulls out a strange looking contraption. It was actually an invention of Benjamin Franklin. It's an ocular set of glasses with like 12 different lenses that fold in different colors, pigmentations. Some of them look like they glow with eerie types of magic. And you're sure that's what it is?
I just killed it myself.
All by yourself?
No. Oh dear God, no. With the party.
I was about to say.
I
won't go near them.
I'd be a very ice chippy bird if I tried to fight that thing alone.
Yeah, I can't deal with them at all. Just punch it and it hits me harder. Just no. So as she's going through this, you watch her flip through each lens and oh, it's definitely what you say it is, and the quality's pretty decent. Definitely fresh. Takes a sword from the wall. The metal is black. Black as pitch. Very heavily chromatic. Takes it and says, oh, we'll see what happens. She swings it down as hard as she can on the tip of one of these claws, and it stops about halfway through. Nods and goes, yeah, that's definitely the frost salamander. Sure, it could have been one of those dragons. But no, that's a salamander. Adamantine stopped halfway. If it was a dragon, it would have bounced off.
I haven't had the good fortune of taking down any dragons.
So,
lately.
what did you want for these?
A high quality fix for my beak. It keeps breaking, and I need something that won't break and is permanent.
Flips a couple lenses, looks at your beak, pulls out from a random pocket somewhere in her lower back, she pulls out a notepad and a pen and proceeds to start writing down numbers as far as you can tell on a page.
I'm not going to think
Flips
too hard.
another one. Oh, that's problematic. It flips another one. Oh, you're just screwed, aren't you? Keeps going.
Typically, yes.
Oh, it absolutely makes sense. All right, yeah, I can do that. Do you want it made out of that?
You could have that for payment. I would prefer it to be in steel or something.
Or something?
Or something.
How do we attach it? I mean, I can create a harness, we can rivet it, we can weld it, we can graft it. I'm pretty sure if I talk to the druids real nice, they might even be able to find some way to use a metal to wood type deal and make it fuse, because we can make wood into bone with the necromancer's scroll I have.
I like that option.
Okay, so yeah, we can totally do that, and that will cost you both claws.
You can have them.
Come back in about 3 weeks once I've got the once I have the thing, and we'll have that set for you.
Fantastic.
It's going to be a while before you get that, and you're going to be walking around Broke Beak as a result.
That's fine. I'm already broke beak. I've been broke beak for a few days. I'll live.
There.
Okay.
Well, this brings us to Aspen, I believe.
Hi.
And Aspen, you are upstairs in your room, out looking over the park, where you can see from the like wash basin sink area in your room. I mean, they charge 20 silvers a night. These are nice rooms, people.
Yeah.
You can see your nice view of the park and pretty much the goings on, including at one point you watch as you would be seeing Wisp go walking by with the head.
Yep.
What you doing?
I am taking a hot bath, warming up. I got hit pretty hard by some of those frost hits. And while I'm in there, I am preparing my spells, kind of like flipping through my spell book, going through everything. And I'm pondering the conversation that I had with the barkeep when I walked in about the frost salamanders. And I'm just kind of thinking about the northern tundra and what's driving them down here and why, about the portal that was possibly mentioned. And I'm pondering.
You know that research thing that you mentioned to me earlier today before game?
Uh-huh.
I need you to go ahead and make that roll so I can tell you how.
Hey. You want me to do a roll for a researcher?
Yeah, because you would need to actually figure out the research to do this in
Yes.
order to find out like what kind of people would know what you need to know. Because you don't really know what would drive that down there. You've never encountered this before, to your knowledge.
What bonus would I use for that? For the flat roll?
Actually, that one. Where's my player's handbook? There's a character sheet in the back of it.
Arcana, history, insight.
Is that it?
Yes.
Investigation.
Yeah, we'll go with invest. Hold on. Let me think here.
I'm just throwing out what.
Well. Okay, so persuasion, performance, actually. Yeah, go ahead and roll an insight on this one. You get a
insight?
+2 bonus to it to figure out what you need.
Okay. I did roll my dice already. Do you want me to re-roll or just use the number that I rolled once? I'm gonna be honest on that one instead of rolling the second time and calling that number instead.
Okay, go for it. What's the
Okay.
number there?
The number here is an 8, and then my insight is 4.
So that brings it up to 12 plus
Yeah.
the 2, 14. So out of 14, you would know that from your own understanding of planar creatures,
Yeah.
a frost salamander would have been from the plane of ice. It's not from the material plane. It doesn't belong here. This is not its natural habitat or natural plane of existence even.
Okay.
You do know that in cold areas they tend to come through if there's a large, dense, warm-bodied or hot population. It's entirely possible part of the reason for it coming through was because of the amount of heat that the town generates to keep itself warm in the sudden cold snap. The temperatures have been getting cold enough at night that it is downright chilly. And the little ice devils probably didn't help either. Now, because of being a researcher, at a 14 you would also know that you may be able to get some more information from the people at at any kind of place that procures magic spell components. And you seem to have remembered somewhere seeing an exotic pet store in town, but you're not exactly sure as to where that was. And they might know something more about frost salamanders because that seems like an incredibly exotic thing to you. Don't lose your head. So, where are you heading out to?
I'm still currently in the bath, pondering all of this. This is information that I would have
Yeah.
thought about as I'm sitting there. I'm warming up. I originally was a desert dwelling, like outskirts of the middle of nowhere dweller. I don't really like the cold. So I've been spending a little bit of time. Oh, I am spending a little bit of time warming up. I'm enjoying my bath. I'm licking my wounds. I got hit pretty hard. I almost actually was getting close to a death roll last game. And that was just by getting hit so hard so many times. So I'm licking my wounds. I'm casting cure wounds on myself a few times, trying to make sure, which I guess that would burn a spell component,
Well,
wouldn't it?
on a short rest, you can take your hit dice worth of hit points back in natural healing, but you can
Okay.
only do that once per day.
Okay, then in that case, I'll take that.
Okay, so you're gonna basically use it as a short rest to kind of recoup some of your.
Yep, I will use my short rest. So
Also, you can ritually cast cure wounds and not burn spell slots, so you can get yourself back up to health, but
I'm not quite sure how to do that. I haven't quite.
it would take you,
understood
give
that
or
yet.
take, about 15 minutes of using the spells and like using a very special ritual to designed to heal yourself or another.
I'm gonna look more into that in the book.
Yeah,
Next time I'm
but
out of game to do that.
but you can actually use it ritually. So if you don't want to burn spell slots, because you are taking the time to, you could say that the act of bathing and doing all of these things in a ritual manner, using special essential oils and things
And
like
then
that in
you
your
have to
bath
use
is
your
a
spell
ritual for you to
Oh!
heal. But that is your cure wounds ritual from now on, so you need to have a hot mineral spring or something to cure and heal with as a ritual in order to heal. For yourself. For others, there are other ways that you could do similar, like essential oils and a ritual of anointments and using magical sigils, etc., to drop them on the person. It takes longer, but it doesn't burn spell slots. You don't do it in a critical situation where they're about to die. Let's just put it that way.
I absolutely love that idea, and sure, I'm going to look more into rituals. Let's call that, basically how you described it for now. I'll do my own flavor text to that outside of game.
So we'll say that for every half hour you soak in this bath, and basically just continually trace the rituals and magical circles onto the surface of the water while you're bathing, it will heal you for 5 hit points.
Okay.
Or will heal you for 1 roll for every half hour until your hit points are full. So if you take like an hour and a half, 2 hour bath, you should be up to full HP right now.
Okay.
At level 15 though, that could get a little bit different.
Okay. Okay.
It's just going to take longer if you're at almost no hit points.
Okay. Sounds good. And yeah, so I'm going to anoint that ritual for myself, and then when I'm done with my bath and everything, I will eventually meander down to the barkeep and ask about a possible pet shop that I don't recall where it's at, but I thought I may have saw coming into town or something.
As she is clearly hustling and bustling as it's getting on towards the lunch rush, basically, and there's people everywhere because about the 16th of town was just wiped out. It's like, yeah, there is a pet shop. There's another inn and tavern side by side. And buy knickknacks. It's off that way. I'm kind of busy right now, or I give you better directions. I'm sorry about that.
Thank
She
you
brushes
anyway.
off. She's got like 4 pitchers in her hands, and it looks like she's got a tray, somewhat like a tray cart, following her in tow invisibly by something invisible pushing it with like bowls of stew just
I
stacked.
flick a silver onto her tray cart for giving me directions.
Do me a favor.
Yeah.
Roll a hit with your dexterity bonus.
Okay. Fucking boy, no less.
Ain't
That's a
that old.
13. With a
13.
dex bonus of a 1, so I think that's 14. Yeah.
That's enough. Okay, so as you flick it, you watch as the silver piece bounces off one bowl, bounces off of another one, and then lands in a third. And sinks to the bottom.
Well, that'll be a happy customer.
Yep. And there's your directions. So
I'm going to slip around the crowd and head out down that way.
That will bring you to right about here, and I cannot reach you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, entering this place.
And this is a side that I ended up firebombing.
Correct.
Okay.
So, you notice the eatery that you had seen before, and you go down the alley between the inn and the tavern, and that alley smells like pee and vomit. It's.
I'm not surprised.
You're pretty sure you could probably rent a piece of floor space for a copper in the heart, or next to the hearth of this place.
Yep.
You're so glad you had more money than I when you came into town. Or you'd have fleas. Just fleas. But as you find this pet store, you see some rather odd things in the windows, like winged snakes.
Ooh. Like the Ouroboros? Is that what?
Like the Quetzalcoatl almost, but no, this is actually just a little winged rainbow snake.
Oh, you said winged. I thought you said ring.
No, I mean like a snake with wings.
With wings. Yeah, no, I was picturing. I thought I heard you say ring.
And on the little cage below, because there's like 20 or 30 of them in 2 separate cages.
Yeah.
They're relatively large. In the front thing it says, trained on 1 cage, 300 gold. Untrained, 5 gold.
I'm sorry, what creatures?
The winged snakes.
How do you train a snake for next to freaking 295 gold? That's what I want to know.
Poison damage.
Yeah. I'm gonna come back for that.
300 gold. The fact is, you're not going to get anybody to pay money for them of any quality unless they're trained, because they're not exactly safe pets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I am going to obviously enter the pet store. I'm a little oohed and awed because I'm a kid in a pet shop right now. And then it dawns on me.
There's actually a bin as you're just inside the front door. Like,
Yeah.
remember in the 80s and the 90s when you go into the pet shop and there was like the
Yeah.
little bunny bin, or there was the little bin full of like hamsters? There's a bin full of hamsters. And it has a riveted shut, what looks like mithril mesh across the top, and it says "Caution, space hamsters."
Ooh. And then it dawns on me. I have
The little
Mephits! And I immediately summon my pet skunk, Mephits. Because I completely forgot about him until I walked into the pet store.
Oh, yeah, she does still have that thing.
So I summoned my familiar. Because I totally forgot he existed up until this moment. Walking into the
Okay.
pet store.
So, well, the owner definitely knows you're there.
Yeah, right? Because I got super excited, did not think about it.
What's your armor class?
My AC is an 11.
Okay, so here's how this goes down. As you summon your pet skunk and his odor fills this little shop,
Oh no.
5 little pellets of hamster food go flying through the bars of this mithril cage, and one of them lodges itself firmly in your left ear.
Okay, how much damage did I take for that?
None, it's just really fragging annoying, and you can't hear out of that ear for about 5, or until you take it out.
Okay, I'm picking at it.
It's in there pretty good too, so
Okay,
go
I'm
ahead.
I'm sitting there picking at it for a minute then.
Yeah,
Um,
it just lasts for a little bit and then goes away when you pick it out.
yeah. And I immediately, I walk up to the store owner and I say, I apologize for Mephits. I forgot about him until just now. It's been a little while since I hung out with my familiar, but, I'm sure you know about the salamander right here. I'm sure you heard about this damage. What do you know about a salamander? What do you know about giant frost salamanders specifically?
I wish it had got here when it's an egg so I could have got it, but those eggs are so hard to find. Nobody ever gets back from those expeditions anymore. It's been decades. You know, they wander off into the plain of ice. They find the frost salamanders dead. They end up a statue.
I mean, that makes sense. Those guys are pretty harsh out there.
Yeah, that was a little one.
That was little.
It was huge, but not on the big side of huge.
Okay. Good to know. Like, why would it come down here? What do you think would bring it down here?
Well, I know they like it when it's cold,
Yeah.
and because they hunt based on heat. And it's easier to detect warm things in the cold.
That makes a lot of sense.
They like their food hot.
So we're just one big. What's the word I'm looking for? Target?
Well, we are a giant furnace in the mountains, but they don't normally come this far south. They like it when it's much colder.
I know this, but what brought it down here? That's why I'm like.
Well, it has been a lot colder this year.
It has been a lot colder this year.
Yeah, in the last week or so, it's been unseasonably cold. It snowed in the end of November. I mean, it snows here, but not like that. Not that early. Normally we
Any suspicion to what's causing it to be so much colder?
no clue, but feels like the wind's been blowing down off the mountains.
Could a dragon affect the weather like this?
If it were big enough, maybe. Depending on the type. Ones that make things cold are normally pretty mean. There's more than one kind that makes things cold too.
Uh-huh. That I remember. I like dragons from a distance. I want to ride one day. But I know the ice.
At this,
cold
and the
dragons-
fact that you look like a 12-year-old, we realize you're in your 60s basically. We go, he kind of busts out, you want a what? Well, aren't you just the sweetest thing?
If only you knew who I really was. And I drop a silver on the counter and run away. With Mephits in tow.
And
Kind of like ragdolling
as
myself.
you bolt off, and we'll say that you headed back up the alley for right now, so
Yeah.
you're not in his shop anymore, that brings us around to you, Ms. Viridia. So, sitting at the tea shop, with your eyes, heart, or the eyes, the heart, the kidneys, and the liver, having created a very long trail of liver to there, what are you going to do?
First, I ring for a bar wench. Or a waiter. Or whatever's at the tea house.
The proprietor that you met earlier, who had made you that lovely matcha, comes out. Oh, Miss Viridia, you're quite the mess. Yes.
The proprietor was frozen solid at the end of the last episode.
Oh,
Because he presented Viridia with the conflict of the matchas right there.
oh yeah, that's right. It was frozen.
Oh, shit.
So you try to get a hold of somebody, but you hear nothing. But you have
Well-
noticed that it's quite warm in this little 5-foot circle around you.
Bloody hell. Okay. I take I take 10 silver. I set it on the counter at the tea house.
Okay.
I grab a burlap sack out of the storage room.
Okay.
I put the liver, the eyeballs, the heart, and the kidney in the burlap sack.
What order are you stacking them in?
Heaviest to lightest.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Then I look at the mess I've made in the back courtyard. And I take out another gold. And I put it on the counter. And then I leave and I start heading up to the Druid's Grove. I have a theory that possibly the kidneys or the livers might be able to be used to bring down fevers rapidly. I'd like to be able to see what I can tell from the eyes about the color spectrum those creatures might be able to see it. So I am off to the groves to do some experimenting on these parts and find out what I can about these creatures, because while we've never ever seen them, this is the first time we've had to look at them close.
Since you're coming to the Grove especially, the only thing that you've seen of them would have been in scrolls and writings that you would have learned about in theory, basically.
Right.
Having to have at least a minimal knowledge of each individual plane and elemental plane as a druid, because the elements.
So now I want to see if the liver or the heart or the kidneys can be used to draw out toxins or reduce fevers and what other effects they might have.
So you would be taking your route down, and the fastest way to the Grove is actually through the park, which would be that nice green section there.
Yeah.
And it's a bit heavy. You notice along the way, you can hear the blacksmith ringing out, you can hear her hammers ringing out, and you can see across the courtyard of the park, she has a very nice weapons set out, and it looks like there are multiple different types of metals, even some that look like they're made out of things like ironwood.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. So then I'm gonna head over and I'm gonna drop my bag off right over here behind this wall.
Your bag of parts.
Part, yeah. I'm gonna head into her
That
place
whole area is
up
hers.
I'm gonna come in through the back door though, and just kind of lean in through the back door and go, "You hello."
Again, this woman that you see is very much looks like she's on fire. Like, her hair looks more like flame than like hair. Her eyes glow,
What
and
was her name again?
Christiana. Actually, she'd never given it.
I live here.
It would be Christiana, you would know that. And she's just hammering away, and this fire genasi is almost oblivious as you say something. It looks like she's right in the middle of doing
Christy!
something interesting.
Christy!
She stops, and you notice that what's sitting there looks like a weird curved metal piece that's being beveled into a rounded shape. She's like, "Oh, Maria, what is it?"
Is my stuff done?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. She goes back. As a GM, I am sad to say I do not remember what your exact order was.
As a player, I regret to inform you neither do I. I think it might have been for a better bow.
Oh, yeah, it was. She comes back, and she's like, she goes into the back. She's like, "All right, so I thought about your build and everything, and your shape. I had this idea. So let me know how this works." What she pulls out is a very ornately carved bow. It looks like a composite bow that decided it wanted to be a recurve, so kind of like a Mongolian horse bow.
Okay,
Or Celtic short bow.
I know what you're talking about.
She looks at you. It doesn't look all that much. I mean, you think longbow when you think.
Oh no, Christy, this is gorgeous. That extra curve is gonna get oh, this is a beauty. This
70
is a-
pounds ain't too much, is it?
Are you kidding? Not at all. Not at all. Do I still owe you for any? I mean, look at all the detail you put in this.
It is made out of ironwood, Viridia. It's not like you had me make it out of mithril or dragon bone.
But I've cut down ironwood. I've built a bivouac or two. It's not the easiest stuff to work in. And look at this. This is just...
She looks
You
at
really
you,
are the
and
best,
she has
Chrissy.
a log of ironwood about this big sitting on a bench in her porch. She walks over, walks into the shop, gets one of the axes off of it. It's like, you're right. Ironwood is a bitch to cut. And she goes down with it with one hand, and it goes through like butter. Then there's Vorpal adamantine.
Well, that'll do it. That'll do it. Anyway,
275 gold at your local blacksmith shop.
So an axe made out of Vorpal adamantine is 275 gold.
correct.
Yeah, she has a knack for Vorpal.
So,
Good to know.
It's her one enchantment.
thank you so much. Did I already pay you for it, or do I still owe you?
No, you already paid me a while ago, I think.
That's what I thought. I
If
just
not,
forgot
after
to
what?
remember.
After that mess that you all were dealing with, from what I heard. She points to the two claws on her table. Ran into your feathered friend. Yeah. After the mess you all dealt with, it'd be on the house anyway. Beyond that.
You're an absolute doll, Christy, an absolute doll face. Kiss, kiss. I have to run to the grove.
She just right then and goes right back to hammering. And as you're going out, you hear her mutter, "I never understand that kiss thing." And she keeps on hammering away. She seems more intent to make the most beautiful. She's a runesmith, so for her, it doesn't matter. It's Vorpal.
And then I head back, I grab my bag. And I start heading to the grove, but now that I have a bow, you can give me the stats on that whenever, but now that I have a really nice bow, as I head my way to the grove, I look for the first 12 or 13-year-old child that looks like they could use a bow to give them my old bow.
Yeah, go. What kind? The first 12 or 13-year-old kid, or the first that looks like they'll use it?
The first that looks like they'll use it.
Okay, go ahead and roll perception. You are carrying two bows, so.
Ooh, wow, I've got a +5 to my perception. Beauty is 17.
17. So about halfway down through the trails, you do run into one. They're yeah, you're well off the map at this point. You do run into a kid who seems to be sitting there with anybody who ever played with a bow and arrow as a little kid did the thing where they took a stick, they put a piece of string from one end to the other and tried to fire other sticks with it. This kid is actually doing this and at least hitting the box at 15 feet away.
Oh, not bad.
If anybody's ever tried to fire one of those things, there's not even flights on these arrows. They don't even have twigs or leaves. They're
Do
just,
they appear to be a boy or a girl?
I'll just D4 of them. Even girl.
Hey, Les. You want a real bow to play with?
But, well, it's alright if I tell my mom where I got it from.
Well, of course. Why would you not?
Well, some people tell you not to tell your parents where it came from.
Oh, well, I suppose as a safety measure, that's not the worst idea. And good looking out in Asking. That was very wise of you. But of course, you can tell her Viridia the Druid gave it to you. Viridia will
you're one
reply.
of them druids.
Yes, I am. And I just happen to not have need of my old bow.
Well, it's definitely better than mine. Fires another one. This time it actually hits dead center.
Yes, but you are very talented. Now this one will be trickier. By now, it looks like you've learned to compensate for whatever you had on hand, so be aware. This will be a little harder to fire at first, and the arrow's going to go a little further.
The next arrow goes straight out of this, and she's still just firing straight sticks. She's like, all right, I'll give it a try. And she takes the bow from you, and she goes ahead, and as she fires it, she just uses a stick again, not having arrows, and it goes straight up. She rolled a natural 1. She goes,
Hold on. You can't just fire straight sticks out of those. And
grabs another stick because she's still frustrated as hell, and 12.
No.
This time, she not only knocks this stick, and it does have a little knock in the back of it, apparently she carved out with her little pocket knife. It goes flying, goes through the box, and nails itself straight into the tree. She goes, worked.
Would you like to try some real arrows now?
The ones with tips.
Yeah.
I don't know if my big brother's gonna like that.
Well, how about you just not tell your big brother?
Oh, he'll find out.
Here. And I take my entire quiver off, the whole thing, and I give her the quiver, which should have.
A standard quiver has 20 arrows to start it, minus whatever you have used or lost.
Yeah. Okay. So I haven't used the bow as my go-to really, but assume that there's like 13 arrows in it.
Okay. Yet again, she takes a real arrow, she tries it, twang! Arrow goes straight up in the air. She has to sidestep and catches her dress as she sidesteps, and the arrow goes straight down. She picks the arrow up out of the ground. Stupid thing, fly right.
Take a deep breath.
Oh, she took a deep breath all right, and held it, and this time it goes through and splits the stick she put in the tree.
Nice.
Every other shot.
You'll get there.
That just means that I'll miss my brother the first time.
It just means I'm missing the first time.
He put a snake in my bed.
Arrows are not for brothers, but you just keep on practicing. At that point, I pick the burlap sack up again, and I continue to head to the grove.
As you're wandering off, I'll teach him the next time he puts snakes in my bed or spiders in my hair. I'll shoot him in the butt.
I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
All you hear as you're walking down the trail is, thank you. In the sweetest little cherub voice.
And then I'm going to make my way over to the druids to find out if my hut is finished and to talk to some of the druids who are more into medicine, some Circle of Spores druids and Circle of Land druids, about doing some experiments on these pieces. Let's see if we can turn any part of this into medicine.
So, as you get there, you notice that the entire circle, like everything inside the druid's actual circle, is really hustling and bustling right now.
Mm-hmm.
The bits and pieces of Mephits and the glass shards, or the ice shards that they left, are being quickly dissected. And you can see that there are very few free druids at the moment, but none of the it seems like the elders are each in their respective doing what they are. The elder of the land is working with everybody else, tearing things apart, and like, it's not natural. It's just not natural. What the hell are these doing here? Something had to summon them. Is what you're hearing whispering through. None of that's from here.
You think it was witchcraft?
Magic. Not
Certainly, but whose?
Well, be a lot of people's. I mean, angry wizard decides that they want to have a little fun, summons a bunch of extra planar creatures to terrorize the town, and then comes in and cleans up the money is a possibility. We haven't had time to look into it. We're busy thawing people out. What's
Well-
in the bag?
Liver, kidney, heart, and eyeballs.
From what? That's huge.
A frost salamander.
Oh, you and your friends get it.
Yes, we did.
Right then. Well, you should probably take it to your place.
Ah, is it finished?
Oh, yeah, they finished it about a week ago, but you were like, I think there was something about... Oh, yeah, that little girl came back saying something about hags.
It's, rather busy on the outskirts these days, so thank you very
Well,
much.
The hags used to be further up into the interior. I don't know what would have brought them this close to town.
Well, that's, two mysteries to be solved, but they all seem to be coming in our direction. I'm gonna go see if I can figure out why. Just as soon as I'm done seeing if any part of this beast is useful or whether I should just bury it.
But you said we've got, yeah, it's useful. We can put it to use. There should be some scrolls somewhere in someone's quarters about it. We'll have them delivered to your place, or you're welcome to experiment on your own. We would like a portion of the liver, though, and we highly recommend putting the heart in a glass case and just sitting it in your cabin.
Well, that's not a bad idea. It does seem to melt everything. We'll definitely keep the place toasty warm.
Funny thing, those frost salamanders, you hit them with fire and they turn you into a popsicle every time. Every time. So, if it ever gets cold, or if it ever starts to get cold, just warm it up, or freeze it again, or warm it up again. Yeah, it's weird. They eat heat.
Okay. So I will actually drag the whole bag back to my place, but instead of taking care of all of the pieces now, I'm actually going to bury them in the snow except for the heart, which I will put in a jar and set on the mantelpiece over my fire. And then I will start studying scrolls. And also, when I'm done with the scroll studying, I'm actually going to head back into town because I want to see if there's anything else interesting that we haven't heard about yet that has also been driven into the area while we were dealing with the hags and salamander.
So, as you store everything, I need you to go ahead and make survival on that one to see how well you stow it. Difficult, just don't roll below a 10 and it'll be stowed well. Everything 10 and above will increase how well it'll keep for the time being, the way you were managing the packaging.
19.
Okay, so it'll last for about a week in this snow as long as the weather holds. If it starts thawing out, you've got about a day to get back to it.
Okay.
And that will bring us back to the tavern and back to the top of the list.
Oh, may I make a suggestion? Can we buy a break?
Yeah.
Yep, it's 5:50.
Yeah, we'll do that after a quick bio break then. Get up, moves ourselves around.
Do a barrel roll, Fox. Do a barrel roll.
tonight's dinner, it's gonna be great.
And we is back. So,
Quick announcement, guys. I haven't been feeling the greatest the last week or so, and I'm just really exhausted. I'm feeling better physically, just worn down. So, we're gonna figure out something for my character, and I'm gonna take a leave for the night. It was fun playing with you guys, and I'll be back next week.
Love you. Hope you feel better.
and do feel better.
Will do, guys. I will be watching from my phone and monitoring the chat, so don't be strangers, guys.
Yep.
Get some rest, huh?
I will. Thanks,
Feel
guys.
better.
I'll text everybody when I'm home.
Right on.
Good. See you next week.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Well, technically, won't we see him tomorrow?
Maybe.
No. Not meeting tomorrow.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, I guess we'll see him tomorrow. Either way, back to the game.
Anyway, so back to the top of the list. And Wiz, you were last leaving the magic shop, skipping merrily, no longer carrying a head, still quite drenched in blood,
With my jar of dirt.
with a jar of dirt
Yep.
and a jade and ruby encrusted, jade gold and ruby box carrying a very odd little mechanized thing.
Cute. I want to make my way over to the blacksmith to see if the armor that I asked them to make for me in previous,
It's been over a week, right?
yeah,
Thought so.
see if the armor is done.
As Do you remember what type of armor you'd asked for?
It was supposed to be like an improvement to my scale mail to make it to where it's a little bit quieter and more durable.
Got it. So, as you come in, she is swinging that hammer for all it's worth, and it looks like it's taking a better form than it was when Viridia was just there. And you can see that there's two of the claws on a back thing, because you know to go into the back to pick up your orders and things of that nature. She's hammering away at this thing that looks like the tip of Kalora's beak.
Okay.
Or like it might be trying to be that shape at this point, but something's,
Yeah.
She was, and as she's hammering away, she hasn't really been down from doing this for long, maybe like 20 minutes or so since Viridia left, and has, at this point, having stowed everything, made her way back to we'll get there. So she looks up, not even saying, man, it's a busy day. Let me guess. At your height, trying to be quieter, really clanky scale man. Right. And I fixed that problem where your tail didn't have a covering. So, one moment. Sits down her hammer, stuffs the beak back into the kiln. You know, gotta keep the metal hot. Wanders off into the back. Comes back with the set of armor that, for all you know, you've looted from someone. It's been repaired, patched, and everything. Looking much newer, much nicer. And one of the things that you notice is every one of the scale epaulets on the scale mail has a very odd iridescent leather, like rimming the edges, so that when it moves, instead of the metal hitting the metal hits the leather, thus silencing it. So, well, I've never field tested this theory, and if you mess up the leather too much, it'll probably get louder.
Okay.
But let me know how this works, and I didn't know the girth on your tail, so I figured roughly about 5 inches around would fit most catfolk.
Well, to be fair, I don't have a tail.
Oh, I thought you were just stuffing it up in your armor all uncomfortable like Tabaxi had been forced to for centuries.
No, I don't have one.
Oh, well, that being the case, and she walks over to the armor, and you watch her just reach down and rip this thing off, and you hear 2 rivets pop.
Okay.
And then the next thing you hear is see her pick up a rather large, what looks like a 20-pound hand sledge. Ping! And you hear the metal bend.
Okay.
Problem solved.
Alright.
So, as I said, this is a little experimental. It'll be quieter. I mean, the theory is sound, but I don't know how to work after you mess it up.
Yeah.
So try not to get hit too much.
Okay.
You can always bring it back from repairs.
Right. So does it have any pluses to it, or?
Well, you no longer have a stealth penalty in scale mail.
Alright.
It is a silenced version of scale mail. So instead of you clinking and getting your disadvantage on stealth, it's gone.
Alright, cool.
That's what doing this to the armor has done. She didn't enchant it with anything,
Okay.
other than it was just, but it's definitely better in at least one way because it doesn't hinder you in one more way.
Okay.
And so, she'll say, anything else?
No, I think I'm good for now.
All right. Well, then, have a good day. And she pulls the beak out and goes right back to hammering. It seems like she's a very one-track type person, you know. I'm at work, I'm working, so this is what I'm doing. You're here because work, but if you don't need anything else, I'm going back to it. Starts hammering away and leaves you to either leave or sit there and watch for all she cares.
I'm gonna take one of the 2 teeth that I have. Wait, did I have 2 teeth? I'm pretty sure I did take out 2 teeth. Give me 1 second.
Alright.
You gave me 2 that I gave to Aspen.
Yeah, and then I thought I had 2 more. I do. I do have. Okay, I'm going to take and give one of the teeth to the blacksmith and tell her to make whatever she wants with it.
Make whatever she wants with it?
Yep.
Alright, so she takes the tooth, holds it up, and shoves the beak back down into the thing, goes over to her workstation, pulls out the lenses, and starts looking this thing over. It's like, well, pink, frost salamander tooth. There really was one of them today. Couldn't hear it over the hammer. And nothing's putting out this woman's forge. She's a fire genasi. You can't put out that woman's forge.
Right.
Her fire comes from her standing there. She looks at it, well, alright. I think I can make something interesting out of this. Looks around. Thinks for a second. Scratches her chin. I think I know just the person to give it to. This weird little kid in here. They'll be fun to have test this thing. And she just goes, oh, fun. And I have a few days before I have to finish that, and it's going much faster than I thought. I rolled like 2 natural 20s on her crafting a minute ago, so she's like actually way ahead of schedule. She just shoves it back in the fire. It's almost shaped. I can leave it in the cooler end of the bed and it won't fuck anything up. And she wanders off with this tooth, and the next thing you hear is a grinder in the back, and there is nothing other. You hear roughly a, oh my god, it's perfect, thank you, and that's it.
Okay.
All you'll hear besides that is grinding. So where are you heading from here?
I think I'm going to head over to Knickknacks.
Knickknack's a popsicle. Uncle Knickknack is a popsicle.
Oh yeah, that's right. Knickknack is a popsicle. Alright, I'm gonna head towards the tavern.
Alright. So, as you enter the tavern, take your seat and all of that, we will bring it to
What piece
next...
was that?
Oh, that was Viridian.
That's me.
Wait, this one was
Calora.
Calora,
Yeah, that was Calora.
who was also there.
I was the monkey.
Yeah, that's right. The monkey is in the building.
Yeah, yeah.
The monkey in the house? Okay, I'm done. So, as that goes, now we go, as you step in, having re-procured your armor, which, as you move it and everything, it's maybe about a ½ pound heavier with the leather additive, but it's definitely, you remember what it was like, you've lifted scale mail before, right?
Yeah.
You know how it makes that weird clanky jingle sound?
Yeah. It sounds like change in your pocket.
Yeah. Sounds like leather rubbing on steel.
So basically I can pretty much walk into the tavern and nobody will notice. Without having
If you're
to,
trying, yeah.
Yeah, without having to go in stealth.
You're just walking and you sound like everybody else, but you've got to, but it's very nice looking. Because you asked for it to be silenced, you notice that it also is no longer shiny. It has a matte finish, like they put bluing on the steel.
Nice. Goes good with my breath coat. And my top hat.
Oh yeah, he does have that. So, and that brings us to Calora, as you come into a rather busy evening at the pub. And where are you? Oh wait, you were last time we saw you. You left the blacksmith, and where did you go?
I went back to the corpse of the salamander.
Okay, so you are down here, all the way by the fountains, where the decapitated, declawed, and partially skinned and
Thoroughly eviscerated.
very thoroughly eviscerated, yes, and 3/4 of the way stripped down to the bone, frost salamander is.
I'm after the bones. If everything else was valuable, that must be too.
It's an elemental creature. It's body, like we're 70% water, it's like 40% magic. So, you're going for the bones? Alright, this thing is a huge creature.
Ribs and tail vertebrae.
The smallest tail vertebrae weighs 2 pounds. The largest tail vertebrae at the base of the tail connecting to the hip sockets weighs 40 pounds. Each individual rib weighs 25 pounds. What's your strength?
My strength is a 20 with a +5. And
You can
I
carry-
have 300, I have 128 more pounds I can carry before I'm encumbered.
Okay, there are exactly in graduating increments. So the tail joint, the tailbones alone weigh in at a roughly 250 pounds. This thing was a huge creature.
Okay, then I'm gonna make as many trips as I need to store them
Where?
in my room at the tavern. I don't care if I am sleeping amongst the bones in the Valley of the Dead tonight.
I know two things that aren't going to be on that body.
The head?
No, well, I know the head is not going to be on there, but there's also 2 of the frost claws that I have.
I'm not after the claws, I'm after the ribs and the tailbones.
Oh, they already stripped. Anything that you didn't get or they didn't get is gone, as far as that goes. There were a few mages within the refugees, and they've started purifying the meat and processing it properly so that it won't kill people.
Good.
In the process of going after the bones, I am trying to take care that any meat I'm pulling off, I'm going right up to the top of the muscle and clipping neatly.
A scarab couldn't have stripped these better.
Like I was saying.
No, I mean the bones themselves. As you get them, there's no meat left on any bone.
Perfect.
Like literally, you can get about half the tail. The bottom half, the smaller vertebrae.
Yep.
There's also the mass issue. We're talking chunks of bone where the smallest one's like this, and the largest one is like this and this thick.
Hmm? Emily.
and weighs 45 pounds. And,
Emily.
and exudes cold.
I'm gonna sleep in a nice frosty bedroom tonight. It's gonna be wonderful. Probably best to keep the fire lit so it doesn't get too cold.
How many pounds of this do you carry?
The whole 120 that I can afford without being encumbered. I
What's
can
your
go up to
constitution?
my constitution is a 14 and a +2.
Okay. You will be moving 720 pounds of bones in the long run of it.
Okay. Good.
Alright.
I'll take the speed penalty to have 171 on me. I could get up to 600 pounds.
In one shot? Okay. Here's the catch. If you're going to carry 600 pounds of this, for every minute that you are walking,
I'll even use the icy white ones.
you will be taking 10 damage as you slowly freeze from holding things that exude magical cold in an excess enough to freeze a lake.
Okay, then I'm definitely trying to get as much of it as I can in one trip. Because even halved, if we're following the logics and mechanics, it will not take me a full 5 minutes to get everything to my room.
Okay. Then you're going to take that. We'll say it'd take you about 3 minutes of trips back and forth because that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 140 meters. Moving at an encumbrance speed of, so it would take you 2 minutes each trip, which means it's going to be 20 damage each trip.
So I'm at 10 HP and need to pop one of my health potions.
And by the way, you all would, everybody who is currently in the tavern and downstairs, you were at the pet store, so would you have headed back towards the tavern afterwards?
I am looking for Viridia, so yes.
Okay, cool.
I'm in the tavern downstairs.
So as Wisp walks in, carrying a very nice suit of armor of scale mail, as we just discussed, and you make your way back in, having seen finally getting the chunk of space hamster food out of your ear as you walk in the door. It was lodged in there pretty good.
Finally!
You would all notice Kalora walking in the first time with a big pile of the bones from this thing, looking a bit frosty. Like the tips of the wings are starting to grow icicles. And they're staying cold even after they walk past the hearths. And they go up to their room. And then they come back downstairs. And they go back outside. And they come back in, and it was 2 trips, right? And this time they are looking even more frozen. Like they are looking rough. Like you're pretty sure that you could shoot it with your new bow once, and your fighter friend would drop like a sack of rocks. And they go right upstairs with the next
As I
lot
go
of
up to
bones.
their room the second time, I call them back and say, you should come down here by the fire when you're done with that. Will do!
You pop the health potion.
I did.
They are lessers, graders.
The graders, he gave us each a pair that do 2d6, remember?
That's right.
Yeah.
So
And
how'd you do? Okay. So you're
As-
up 12 and you're at 22 hit points. You're still not doing great. Your beak is broken. You're molting from the cold. Flight acrobatics at a disadvantage for the next week.
Would green, like a dose of green hag adrenaline help them out, or would it make things worse?
I need to think about that. That's a good question. Would a dose of green hag as they're coming back down to join everybody, would you like to ask this question out loud so that you all can have discussion about this?
Hey guys, do you think that green hag adrenaline would make things better or make things worse as far as helping them
Can I do
along?
a research recall, see if I know anything from the lore and knowledge?
Of green hags?
Yeah.
I can't imagine that it would do anything more than add injury.
Well, adrenaline typically speeds up the heart rate, so I figured speeds up the heart rate, increased body temperature.
This is hag adrenaline we're talking about, though.
Right?
Yeah, which is why that's why he needs the monster manual.
Is that a yes for my research lore recall roll?
You can roll a
Insight check again?
yeah, that would be an knowledge insight for that one.
Okay. Dirty 20.
So on a dirty 20, you would know that there's been very little research done into the use of parts of openly and overly sentient creatures such as hags in any form of healing or magic, it is considered a taboo art. The only thing that you would, having studied some darker texts,
Yeah.
because of your,
Being
because of being Necro Barbie, as it were,
Yeah.
you would know that the closest thing that you've heard of is people drinking the blood of celestials in order to prolong their life. And you considered it until you realized what celestials were, and that would be a very bad idea.
And I repeat all of that to him
Okay.
in just like general conversation of just like
Which
why I
means
think it's a bad idea to use the hag adrenaline.
and Viridia, you would hear all this.
Yeah. I already gave my 2 cents.
So,
I was
By
just
the way-
curious why I asked.
so are you gonna do it or no?
Did I hear the information being spewed?
If you
Yeah,
are
but I need you to make an intelligence save because it would be high-end magic and arcana and theory and science we're talking about.
Intelligence save or Arcana check?
Actually, in this particular case, because of what it is, it would have to be insight and not arcana because it's a being and not it's something magic.
Which means I'm gonna have to think hard, so an intelligence save.
That's evil.
just nope.
You rolled a natural 1. You crit failed it. And you have a -1 modifier. So, as you all are discussing this, you watch Kalora get more and more confused. You watch them seem to try and follow it, but have you ever watched a parakeet following a piece of birdseed?
Yep.
On it, like if you take a piece of birdseed, put it on a piece of on peanut butter, and go like this in front of a parakeet. Have you ever watched its head?
I don't. I'm sure animals just
I
for my
think,
amusement.
I think the easiest way to describe this would be brain freeze.
No, the brain didn't freeze. It's like they're actually paying attention to what each person is saying.
Also, it's like Eclipse with my like the finger.
But-
Yeah.
The lights are on, and it's
Colorado.
like the words are. You can actually see the words going in one ear, trying to stick, and going right out the other.
Do not drink the hag adrenaline. Do you understand, bird brain? Do not drink the adrenaline.
Yeah, I got a 0 on my save. Do I understand?
I'm
That's in
talking to
basic
you.
common and being
I'm
spoken
talking-
in stupid.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
reiterating it to you.
You would have to.
Calling you a bird brain, do not drink it.
Okay.
We're not talking alchemic theory at this point. We're talking just somebody directly giving you the honest symbol of it.
Yeah, do not drink it, bird brain.
Just close my journal, put it away. I'm done. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've rolled a 0.
Good roll on that one. I was wondering how you got a 0. I didn't realize you were a -1. Damn.
Yeah. Intelligence of 9.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Woo.
I'm a dumb bird. I'm not a moronic bird, but I'm a dumb bird.
What about green hag blood? Would that have an effect?
I'm not rolling again for that.
My head hurts
I
too
would
much
assume-
listening to that. Please don't talk about science no more.
With what I just told you about, there's been little research, and it is very taboo. Only a select few necromancers have only found in some of the darkest texts.
Most of them became demi-liches to your research.
And most of them are demi-liches. So, like, no.
Not just, go all devil's advocate here or anything.
Try the experiment without
Okay.
Well, not to be all devil's advocate here, but I'm thinking hag's blood is probably pretty caustic and toxic, and might be able to use it to make a pretty effective poison.
I mean, I'm going to do more research. I've got 71 hours to use up. So, I'm going to do more research and see what we can come up with for the uses of hag's blood and possibly adrenaline.
Oh, I know what I'm gonna do.
Poison arrows?
They're dark fae.
Oh. Like I said, I'll do more research. Monkey wrench.
Alright.
I'm gonna open up the little box and like pet the scarab and be like, hey. I'm gonna whisper to him and be like, hey, can you help warm up my friend without killing them?
Okay. So, as you say this exact command, everybody here, I need everybody, what's everybody's passive perception? Because all you see is Wisp opening up this very pretty jade box with gold edges and joiners with really pretty ruby encrusting all along the gold.
14
Well,
for me.
Just
Okay.
so the audience knows, okay, his name is Herbie and he is a love bug.
Uh-huh.
I'm down. Okay, so every one of you hears a strange scraping metal sound and a clacking noise. Slowly, it sounds like metal starts moving and parts and you see little legs and what looks like a beetle, like fire. It actually looks very much like the fire scarabs that you would recognize, Aspen.
Okay.
Only it's mechanical. And it crawls out, and it seems to emanate a very bright, like a nice warm orange glow. And it skitters, like literally across the table, being all of about maybe a foot in diameter, or a foot oval. And literally crawls up the middle of Caloris, sits right in the middle of their chest, and starts making a strange humming noise. You get very warm and water starts dripping off your feathers in about 20 seconds. And that brings us, well, where were we?
Yep.
As you see this thing go skittering out, what do you do?
Wisp, what is that?
It's Herbie, my love bug.
That's a wonderful man. I absolutely love the name Herbie. He's an adorable little love bug.
I don't really know what he is. I got him in a trade,
Oh.
and I wanted a ninja squirrel, and they didn't have a ninja squirrel, so they gave me Herbie the love bug.
He's amazing.
Thank you. He breathes fire and can sneak.
Oh.
He's my ninja.
He's so ninja. He is quite happy and he's absolutely gorgeous. That mechanical working is delightful.
I agree. He's really quite a work of art. Art, engineering.
Look, Herbie, they love you.
Its little wings, it's something that you haven't seen it do before, open up and fan out, and you see that each, where you know what gossamer for a dragonfly or a beetle normally looks like?
Yeah.
Where normally it would be that weird tinted either gray or almost see-through and rainbow. This looks like somebody took a fire agate, thin sliced it, and passed a ray of light through it, and it just glows, and the light turns almost a yellowish color instead of the dull orange that it was. And Herbie immediately backs away from Kalora as this thing does this. Also, you notice that right between the two little pincers on the tip of his face, there's a flame about this tall. When it sees your reaction, it jumps back onto the table and shakes its little booty. Kind of looks cute.
You don't like the bug?
Calora dislikes fire.
Yes.
It was making me warm, so I was trying really hard to tolerate it, but...
They flattered it, and it's a sentient, wondrous item.
Hmm? I'm sure you could tell I was trying really hard to tolerate it. I appreciate you enough. I'm not trying to squish the firebug.
Cool.
I would take damage hurting myself trying to squish the firebug if I wasn't really restraining myself and trying to. It's a firebug. It's a firebug. Why is it on me?
It's mechanical. But, okay, and that will, as this thing goes skittering out and you have flattered it, got it all warmed up, and completely flustered Kalora in the process. It apparently likes praise.
Right?
And it just had 2 people praising it, so it is very happy. And that brings us to you, Viridian.
I actually wanted to talk to Verdi and tell her the information that I had gathered before the end of my turn. I wasn't
Okay.
entirely trying to talk to just Pudgy the whole time to
Okay.
figure out what the...
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I wanted to frantically, like an overexcited 12-year-old, tell Viridia what I had recollected about the frost salamander coming from the ice plane. It tends to come through cold areas, specifically drawn to heat, and like reiterate everything, including the little fact that frost salamander eggs are really catch a good fortune. And I think that something is bringing it here. It's way too unseasonably cold, and the heat is what draws it to the town. I wonder if a dragon's up in the mountain, because they said the chill's coming from the mountain.
Well, I've been wondering that too. You know, we never used to have hags in this area either. And yet it looks like there's been hags in that area in the woods for quite a while. It's making me wonder if an unseen force we have not yet encountered is drawing more monsters to this region. And it's a concern because I hate to try and create a new settlement for the refugees if we're going to be putting them possibly in harm's way. But my research suggests that the salamander must have come through some kind of gate or portal. And like you said, from the direction the wind's been coming up north through the mountains. I'm wondering if we shouldn't try and track.
It hunts based on heat.
Yeah, but the question is, where did it come from?
Well, it was drawn here from the heat of the village. So, if we follow it back the way it came, I'm sure a giant creature that size left tracks in the bloody snow.
Yeah, it hasn't snowed again by the time it left, but yeah, we should be able to track it if it doesn't snow tonight. I wonder if there are others.
You all can hear this, by the way.
Yeah, we're all sitting together talking.
Yeah.
Do you think it could be a dragon up in the mountains? They said it's unseasonable and it came super early this year.
Possibly.
What do we know about
Frost
the
dragon,
mountains?
maybe?
Ice dragon from the ice plane, maybe?
Possibly.
I mean, the ice
Although, of
salamander
course-
came from the ice plane.
Of course, ice dragons aren't the only kind of dragon that uses cold as its primary weapon or environment. There may be other things.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, it seems to me that if we don't close the incursion that let that one salamander in, then we will have more issues in the future.
Well, the portal that the frost salamander came from's got to be further north. And I wouldn't think too far.
You know, the sad thing is we just got back home again. It seems like every time I start to settle, I have to leave. But, you know, I do have a hut now, so there's that.
Allons-y! To the mountains we go! And I don't dash off like I normally do. I'm still at the table.
I'd
Yeah, I
quite
think
like
I'm
to
gonna
take a-
order some food first there,
Yeah.
Aspen.
Yeah, no, I'm still at the table. I want to play the crab legs.
I want to sleep for a night first.
Yeah, we go mountains later. We go track salamander later. We rest today. We're all hurt.
Okay.
How about dip myself in carrying them bones? I want
I'll
to
have the
sleep.
eggplant parmesan.
You notice the people that there does seem to be some wait staff filing in as some of the people who normally would work here and help out Loreleaf out with the tavern in the evenings and in the afternoons realize that though she gave them all the day off, the place is full. So full. And the proprietress does not come to your table this time. Instead, a young halfling girl, probably about 20 years old, walks up. Looks like her tray is almost as big as her. She's like, "What can I get you folks this evening? Menu's wide open. The mistress is in the kitchens and ain't running around like a chicken with her head cut off anymore. We won't have it."
I have the crab legs, please.
Which crabs? The little ones, the small ones, or the huge ones?
Mountain crabs. I don't know. I just pulled something out of thin air on that one.
So all the words we're saying is you want huge crabs.
Apparently.
Alright.
This
Comes
is
back.
huge.
She comes back with a crab leg about 20 minutes later. Or actually about 5 minutes later she comes back. What's everybody else's order before I get there?
I'll have the eggplant parmesan and brown bread with garlic butter.
Easy enough.
I'm going to start walking back towards the magic shop, and I'm just going to eat one of my rations because I forgot to ask what I feed my little mechanical guy.
Real?
Well, I mean, that would be an obvious, but you never know. It could be something crazy that he eats in order to energize.
Oh, he might need like some sort of magical firestone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he might need something magical in order to, like, sustain his life force. Right? You never know. I mean, hell, like some of the hag stuff I have could be like fuel for him. I don't know. So I figured I'll just go ahead and go back to the magic store and ask.
Alright. So you're gonna as everybody's ordering their meals, you're going to grab your rations, go, "I'll be right back," and go out the.
Yeah.
Are you leaving him at the table or is he following you along?
He's gonna come with me.
Alright. So back in his box or no?
I'm gonna give him the choice whether he wants to go back in the box or not.
Kinda looks at you. You watch the little bug head go. You hear some weird clicking noises. It looks down at the table, skitters down the leg of the table, up you, sits on your shoulder, and just kind of nestles itself down. You know how you'll see that thing where the bug will like nestle down all the way and all of its legs will almost go flat, like some beetles will do?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna put its box in my bag.
And you head your way out. And they look at, as you're leaving, they look at, the young girl looks at you, Clore. "So what are you eating?"
Can I get a sourdough loaf and a bowl of salted marrow?
"Well, we can do that. Simplest meal at the table." About 10 minutes, 20 minutes later, they come back. They bring you one crab leg. It's at the ground, about 4 feet long.
Yes, I was just picturing it just like the Flintstones.
Well, not quite like that. The table actually is able to support it, but...
Yeah.
And they hand you 2 tools. You know how normally they'll give you special, like if you go out and you eat like crab legs, they give you special crackers. In this particular case, they have given you a hatchet and a 4-pound mallet, like sledgehammer.
Oh, this is gonna be fun, guys. I cast Mage Hand to do all the heavy work for me. It's a cantrip.
Okay. Roll the hit. Because yes, it can lift the 4-pound hammer. I made sure it was light enough that it could be lifted by mage hand and swung.
17 plus...
Your spellcasting bonus.
5. It's a 21.
22.
Thank you.
Okay, it's a 1d8 hand maul, so roll for damage.
1d8.
Add your spellcasting modifier because you're using its.
The 5 to it. 4 plus 5 is 9.
With a loud crack, it splits, and you watch as the meat just steams and falls open. On the other hand, everybody else who is still sitting at the table and does not want to get hit with crab mist as a sledgehammer hits a giant crab leg, roll dexterity check, or roll a dexterity save.
I guess I should roll a dex save too. I don't want to get hit.
Do you care?
No. No, food.
Not to mention, it's Aspen, and she has a history with giant crabs.
And I usually stink like bile anyway, so why not smell like crabs?
You've got a bath. You just
I
took a
do.
bath. You smell good for once. You feel weird.
Good, yeah.
That's like the best deck save ever.
What you
Net
got?
20. For a total of 22.
Well, what little bit would have hit you landed in your mouth?
8.
You were in desperate need of a bath. And about this time, having seen this, Laureleaf walks up to you because you are soaked. You went to the magic shop and dodged the entire problem. You just came out of a bath smelling all nice and flowery, and now you smell like a fish market.
Yeah.
And Laureleaf walks up to you and says, well, Miss Viridia, we have rooms upstairs. We have a room or two open upstairs. You and your friends we're going to comp your rooms after today's events so far. It's maybe 5:30 in the evening.
My room.
Do you want a room for the night so you don't have to go far? I felt really bad watching you come out of here hammered the other day and have to go all the way back to your tree waiting for your house to be built.
My house has been built now, but I will take you up on the bath because I don't think the apprentices managed to build me a bathhouse.
I hand you the key to my room.
No, you have a wash basin, you know, the wash tub. You have a wash tub in your hut. It's a simple druid.
Cool, I'll have to build it its own bathhouse. So I'll just go ahead and
Yes.
I take that and I look at Laureleaf. Would you make every attempt to keep that warm for me? I don't even eat meat. I'll be right back.
The chicken parmesan, she says, actually,
It's not chicken,
Eggplant.
it's eggplant.
eggplant. The eggplant parmesan, she says, oh, don't worry, the girl who shows you to the room will bring it up with you and you can just eat in the bathtub.
Oh, I couldn't possibly eat while I smell like meat. No. Just keep it warm for me. I'll be right back. And I go dashing up the stairs. And I take the fastest freaking bath, but I have got to get all that
a disaster.
juice off me.
They took her to a completely different room.
I gave her my room key, and I
Yeah.
apologize.
Okay, so you go flying up the stairs to Aspen's room, and as you open it, there are parts of things that you could swear there's a hand on a desk. There's a mushroom pile seeming to grow out of what once was clothing that might have been stripped off of a corpse on the floor. There's a few things that you're not sure what they were, but you're pretty sure at one point they may have held life.
You walked into Jeffrey Dahmer's dream room.
And the interesting thing is that you also notice that there's a pink stuffed teddy bear sitting on the bed.
As I unlock the room and I open the door and I see all this, I shake my head and I go, wizards! And I shut the door behind me and I take a fairly quick bath, but I get all that crab off of me.
Go ahead and roll a performance.
Performance.
Hey, at least you made it up the stairs without tripping.
I think
That'd
19
be-
would fall under base or so.
That would have been my thing. I'd have been like running up the stairs and been like,
Well, it was a 17.
Key. That's
20. 20.
Dirty 20? Alright, so about 10 minutes into Viridia being gone, Laurelleaf comes by, she picks this up, says, I've got the perfect place to warm this, I'll bring it back when she comes down. And she wanders off. Looking at you because you're the only one watching the table at this point, as this huge piece of crab is splayed open that has enough food in it for 4 people. And after about 20 minutes of some hard scrubbing, like you had to scrub everything, including the natural oils, and some of those cakes of mud had to come out of your hair that had been there for a minute.
Okay.
You know her bad habit of of having her hair being in every which way with bits of things in it?
Yep.
She had to take all the bits of things out in order to get the smell gone.
Okay.
It takes you about 20 minutes because it was crab juice in a shower form.
Yeah.
But you do manage to get yourself smelling better than before you were doused. And you didn't stink that bad, other than like you did kind of. You also managed to get all the salamander blood smell off. You're
Right.
And at this point, your only real regret is that you don't have a clean set of leathers.
There are clean robes. Oh no, I'm the size of a 12-year-old. You ain't gonna fit my shit.
Yeah. That's all right.
You're not that big for you're a 12-year-old half elf.
Actually,
You can wear a skirt as a bra.
actually, when I get out of the bathtub, I take my tunic and my breeches. I look around for something that looks like rose oil or lavender oil or something like
My
that.
bathroom's pretty tidy. I do have stuff like that in there.
Yeah, you would actually find like all kinds of at this point because of the ritual you just performed. You would find scented oils. You would find
my
like
bathroom.
I find some. I find
beeswaxes,
some.
soapstone, the whole 9 yards is
Yeah,
there.
you find all sorts of nice like soap or brew and stuff like that.
I find some rose and winter pine scent, and I put it into the bathtub, and I take my tunic, and I look to each side like I'm worried somebody's gonna see me, and I just dunk it in there, and I'm okay, and then I shake it over the bathtub, and I'm like, oh, okay, and then I put it back on wet, and then I do the same thing with my pants, my breeches.
Did you leave the fire in your room lit?
Yeah, I always leave my furnace lit. I hate the cold.
So while you're doing that with your pants and your top is drying, the back of it actually gets completely dry by the time you're done washing the pants. Well, your back was to the furnace.
Obviously.
The back is damp by the time you're done washing the pants.
Well, that's good.
We'll say if you give it about 10 minutes on each side, drying out in front of the fire,
Mm-hmm.
your clothes will be well fitted to you afterwards because of having dried on a wet body.
Right.
That's what I should do to these kids.
But you will absolutely smell exactly like you tried to scent it. Because the wizard may be broke now, but girl had taste.
Cool.
I mean, I was a royal vizier to the queen of the Elven Empire, High Elven Empire. Of course I got taste.
And then I head back downstairs to eat my hopefully not entirely cold eggplant parmesan, brown bread, and garlic butter.
As you come down, a new loaf of brown bread and the garlic butter are brought to the table. And the same eggplant parmesan returns, having set on top of the broiler in the back kitchen on a metal plate, piping hot.
Laura Leaf, you're the very best.
And all you can smell is roses and winter pine as the druid returns. They no longer smell like fish juice. And that brings us to Wisp, who is headed back to the magic shop.
Okay.
After about 2 minutes, you get there. What were you looking for?
I was gonna ask the guy at the magic shop about what should I feed, or what does my scarab eat, or use to replenish?
Used to replenish. Well, you got a good bit of magic to you, don't you?
Yeah.
No. There's a few ways it can fuel itself. Oil, any kind of oil, animal oil, plant oil, fats work. Most things that burn. Doesn't like wood much. Precious metals.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, that depends. You see, it's kind of a baby.
Okay.
It's a weird... And, the more you feed it, the more it grows.
Okay.
Depending on what you feed it, depends on how it grows.
What do you mean? Example.
Not really sure. One of my patrons caught it on the Machinist plane. Plane of order, everything's clockwork.
Okay.
The people, the trees, everything.
Okay.
So we're not really sure, but we know that it eats precious metals. And it likes things that burn.
Okay.
Never seen one eat meat before, but they do like minerals.
Okay.
I'd keep it away from any gemstones, land, if I were you.
Okay.
Can you say anything besides okay?
I can say a lot of different things besides okay.
Why do you keep saying okay and smiling bigger and creepier every time I tell you what it eats?
Because all the stuff you're describing, I may or may not have.
Well, the more you feed it, the bigger it'll be. Just be careful.
Careful of what?
It.
What about it?
Well, it's technically a wondrous item, but it's a wondrous item that's a sentient, self-replicating thing from the Machinist plane.
So it can make more?
Yes, and you really don't want that.
Does it go gremlin status?
Are you sure? I
You're not
don't?
there.
I know I'm not.
Are you sure I don't?
That depends
Look,
on
you
what
scare me.
your plans are. You're not there either.
That was player to player.
Look at you. Oh, I'm sure. It would be quite broke by the time it got done making enough to create even one more of itself. You need at least a kingdom's treasury for it to reproduce properly.
Well, on that note, do you have any cloaks?
No, it's the magic
A
shop.
magic shop. They might have a cloak.
Well, as a matter of fact, I do. What kind of cloak could I interest you in?
I haven't been asked that before. I was thinking like a black cloak with a blue hue on the inside that has a hood, maybe open space so I can hide more stuff in it. Kind of cloak.
Oh.
Like a cloak of holding.
Well, I don't have that, but what you're talking about, a thief's cloak, you can't get that here, sir. You'd want to go to the clothing shop. It's across town by the jewelers.
I'm gonna head to the clothing shop.
It'll take you a few minutes to get there, and we'll get back to you. And that brings us to Colora.
I'm just waiting for my food.
Your food does arrive. You get your nice your bowl of salted marrow. Everything's quite well in order.
Is the bread sliced or whole?
Technically, it would be a whole baby loaf.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna slice it into just little bite-sized slices, and I enjoyed my food.
Colora's actually eating like a civilized individual.
Colora's tired. Colora's tired. Does not have energy for just full-on face attacking a bowl of marrow.
Alright.
Plus, that lady just took the measurements for my beak, and I rolled a 0 a minute ago.
Okay, fair enough. Colora looks like they are wiped out as they slowly eat their food, savoring every bite as if it is their last, because they're not sure if they're going to wake up from the brain fry you all have managed to give them.
I tried to think too hard. That hurt.
And that brings us to Aspen and her 5 pounds of meat inside of a 10-pound crab leg.
I am going to town on it. I'm taking shreds of it and just going to town.
How much are you trying to eat of it?
How much meat is on my plate? You said like 10 pounds?
10 pounds of crab meat, easy. On a rough estimate. Counting for 20 pounds of shell.
I'm going for it. I'm going the distance. Now whether or not I actually make the distance,
She's going the distance.
I was
She's
actually
going
thinking that
for
Reptiles on the
food.
distance. But
Definitely
She's
not
going to
my
belch,
style.
and it'll be so rude.
and well, Miss Viridia is sitting next to her, mouthful of food. I snap my fingers and say 10. And my version of prestidigitation for the warming spell. To dry her clothes off.
Thank you, darling.
And I'm just shoveling food in my face.
You know, you really can be quite thoughtful when you're not busy, picking apart dead things. Not that I'm one to talk today. Anyway, how's the crab?
It is delightful. Too bad you don't eat meat. This is almost too much for me. Hey, Wisp, do you want some crab?
He's not there.
Oh, he is not here. I forgot about that. Damn it. Yeah, so.
Colora's at the table, but
Hey, Bird, you want some crab?
Why not? Slice me off a hunk.
Take a big ass chunk and hand it over.
Set it next to my marrow. Go back to the marrow.
Did you enjoy my bath? Pardon my room. I didn't think about your delicate nature before you walked into my room.
Oh, my goodness, darling. I'm a druid. I live in the forest. Delicate is not a word we typically use. I will say this. You have the loveliest collection of oils and bath stuff. So I didn't mind your room at all. That was absolutely lovely. Thank you so much.
she didn't notice the shovel in the corner.
I'm glad you didn't notice the shovel.
A necromancer with body parts is one thing. A necromancer with body parts and a recently used shovel is another.
Right. Hey, we don't talk about what I do at night. I'm glad you enjoyed the bath. I hope you enjoyed all the scented oils as well. If you ever want one, I always have the finest oils for bath time. It's my sanctuary.
I might very well take you up on that. They gave me a tub, a wooden tub. I know, I'm a druid. We are supposed to be humble, but we're going to have to drag that tub outside and build it its own little bathhouse. I was thinking with a fire underneath it to keep it warm all the time. Doesn't that sound
That
delightful?
does sound like a delightful bathhouse. I'm sure I have a spell. I have Tiny Servant. I just learned that not too long ago. I've been dying to try it out, so maybe we can use Tiny Servant and have them help us create your house.
Ooh. That sounds
They
like
do
fun.
do simple menial tasks.
Uh-huh. Just walk over there. Hey, tiny servant, bring me the thingamajigger.
Bring me that thing. The what's on my hooter. And that. Go get that.
Uh-huh. It'd be brilliant.
Tiny servant.
And then I do loop the conversation back to the mountain and the frost salamander, thinking that we might need to venture towards the ice plane.
Oh my god. I suppose that does mean that there's a gate to the ice plane somewhere out there.
Uh-huh.
That's not really so surprising given these parts, but I can't say I've gone walking around in the other planes. I mean, I've taken a few trips to the Feywild with my old friend Alabaster, but it's not quite the same thing now, is it? Besides which, I never went any further than his farm, which is just on the other side of the gate.
And the Feywild is definitely not the ice plane.
No, I would assume not.
I don't want to go in the cold. Why does it have to be in the ice? Can't it be in the nope.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Nope.
Can't it be in the plane of fire? No, never mind.
Calora sat at the table, just having heard the first letter of the word fire.
Yeah, you watch the bird get paler.
No, don't worry, Bird Brain. We're not going. We're not going. Polly want a cracker. Squawk.
Aspen, mind your manners.
More
That's
bread
not
in the
how we
marrow.
talk to people.
There is
I was
also 5
trying
pounds
to
of crab.
distract her.
I'll get to it after I eat my marrow. I'm a good bird. I'll eat my dinner before my dessert.
And that would bring us back around to Viridia?
I do. I do, but
But
yeah,
actually, we should probably get back to Wisp, who is off and away from the rest of the group.
Yeah, I was interacting with Rydia, so.
Unless you have more that you wanted to add to that, Viridia.
Not really.
So, Wisp, you said you were headed off towards the jewelry, or towards the clothing shop, right?
Yeah.
Where's the monkey? Okay, that would put you here.
Sweet.
You come in, you scan an Eldrin woman? Elven woman with very odd, like, she seems to be decked in summer. Flowers in her hair, things of that nature, they seem to sprout from her as you come in. There's like, how can I help you, sir?
The guy at the magic shop said that you could help me out with obtaining a cloak that I am currently trying to find.
Cloak?
Yeah. I'm looking for a cloak that has a hood. It's black on the outside and like a bluish color on the inside, like a dark blue.
Right.
And I want it to be able to basically be like a bag of holding where I can hide stuff in it.
Oh, so you want a pocketed cloak in roughly your size, black on the outside with a blue trim?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, we can do that. It'd be a couple days to make one. We don't have it in stock, but I can absolutely stitch that up for you. What kind of material would you like?
Something durable.
Well, we could do it in leather. We could do it in a burlap. There are a few other ways we could possibly do it as well.
Leather sounds good. However, would it...
The weather being what it is, I might be able to do it in a dyed black fur, but I don't have any dark colored furs on hand per se.
I don't need fur. I have my own fur.
I meant for the cloak, sir. I mean, it's wintry, and then it's very cold.
Okay, that could work. And I also need another small cloak.
How small?
Fit my beetle.
It's your shoulder. She looks at your shoulder, looks, and she's like, that thing doesn't... Takes a deep breath. Customer is always right.
Okay, fine. He doesn't need a cloak. Can you at least make him a little, like, perching nest on the edge of the cloak, on the shoulder of the cloak?
Oh, so you need someplace for him to attach himself on your shoulder, like an anchor point.
Yeah, or like a little pocket that he can just kind of nuzzle into and be hidden.
That wouldn't be a very little pocket. I mean, he's rather large, sir.
Could you put like a pocket node on the back of the cloak, and then that way he can
Little
climb
pocket shoulder
into
right
it?
here.
Oh, we could do that. I was just going to put some rings that he could hook his couplings to onto it so that he was out in the
Well, that'll
open.
work too. But he also needs a spot to hide.
Oh, well. As you say the word hide, he turns perfectly matte black.
Okay, so little hook things on the shoulder work out great.
I love it. As long as he's not on me making fire, I think he's a very pretty bug.
There's also the top of my top hat that if you really wanted to, you could go up there and shoot fire out.
Yeah, but it's going to burn a hole in front of your top hat if he does it.
That would be cool.
I have like a few like hole in your contact, like a little patch, and you just put
That'd be awesome. Like be like a trapdoor spider.
I love this busy group.
So wait, hold on. Oh god, what have I done to myself?
That's what I was thinking, like a little trapdoor spider.
I don't feel bad. I've got to homebrew this entire fragging creature over the next week or two.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah,
you should
that might
redesign
make
your top
sense.
hat. Just saying.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna see if they can redesign my top hat to add a trapdoor on my top hat for the beetle.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, there's extra gold in it for you.
Well, those are the right words, sir. And she wanders off to make busy in the back. Come back in a few days and we'll have some things for you to look at. Until then, you and your little friend stay warm.
What do you think it'll cost me? What's a rough estimate?
Yeah, I could probably do it for about 3 gold.
Oh, that's okay. That works.
Brings us back to us, right?
Which brings us back to, yes, the other crew in the tavern.
I sigh as I look down at my eggplant.
Doesn't it go to Cora?
Oh,
It
She
would
goes
be.
afterwards?
Kalora is carefully and quietly eating, so it's fine. Kalora is tired. Has
Okay.
not much more meaning to give to the conversation.
I need to find a way to make some gold. My pockets are nearly empty. I mean, that's not unusual. I'm a druid and all, but if we're going all the way the heck up to the ice plane, and who knows what kind of currency they carry up there, but I suppose I should fill my pockets and buy some supplies before we leave.
I'm not near you where I
If
can.
we can end up with a a frost salamander egg, I hear the pet store really wants their hands on some.
Do we even know if that was a boy or a girl?
We have no idea.
Is there anything left of the corpse out there?
It doesn't look like it when I was over there last. There was nothing. Kalora I saw as I was walking by had fucking like tail down to nothing. What?
Is there any part of the stomach or spleen? I didn't hear anybody call stomach or spleen.
By some miracle of millions of starving refugees. No. It's gotten disappeared, processed, turned into something viably edible or usable for some purpose or another, and
Yep.
disappeared very quickly after. By the time Kalora had got there, it was about 75% stripped to the bone, and they
So
took a
there
good
was-
20% of the bones.
No way of finding out. if
There's
they-
like a leg maybe laying just the skeletal part in the middle of the street.
I mean, to be fair, if I was around you, I could probably tell you it's sex, considering I was up close and personal when I lopped off his head.
Well, it doesn't matter if there's nothing left to get the eggs out of because they took them all. We could have been a female. We could have harvested the eggs.
True.
But now we'll never know.
I have a couple 100 pounds of bone. We can sell. That's what I was going to do with it in the first place.
Yep, that's a good idea.
I have a lot of hundreds of pounds of bone.
Okay. That being the case, anybody want to entertain the idea of selling this?
I'm down to sell the bones.
Well, they're not my bones to sell, and I'm keeping the stuff I do have.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I could run home and grab that.
I have 2 teeth that I'm selling.
You can have some of my bone.
I'm not sure who's gonna want bone either, but sure, I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
I may go upstairs.
Make an Arcana check for me.
And I'm gonna also run home and grab an eyeball.
It had 4 kidneys.
And 2 kidneys. One.
Okay. So, you would know that here in a place where it does actually get cold, those bones are worth approximately squat. On the other hand, someplace like Castara, those bones are worth their weight in platinum. Because in the middle of a desert that gets upwards of 150 degrees in the shade, being able to have a bone that constantly generates cold carved into a nice statue and set in your living room makes your house everybody's favorite place to be.
My hometown would really like it.
Isn't that just like a day's travel from here? We've established that it would take me like a couple of days worth of flying.
It would take you a couple of months worth of flying to get to Castara.
Okay.
Also in the opposite direction of where we're actually going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
south. It's an equatorial desert.
Yeah.
This is a
I
trade
suppose I could just go to the grove and... Yes, I'll just go talk to the druids. And with that, I scrape the last little bit of cheese and eggplant and I stuff it into my
Hey.
mouth.
I think around that time I should be able to come back up to the tavern, right?
Yeah, you'd be coming up, and you get in right as it looked like Viridia was finishing her food.
Okay.
And you were saying?
Just using the last of the bread to sop up the sauce and stuff. And then I'm gonna be like, well, I hate to do this, but I guess I'm gonna go talk to the druids. I mean, not that I hate the druids, I like the druids, I'm a druid, but this won't be the most comfortable conversation. You guys all still gonna be here? Or will I have to go chasing you around town?
Well,
I'm
I'm
going
going,
up to
to
my
go
room.
look for somebody who can make a teleportation spell.
Chasing you all around town it is.
I'm
Um,
going up to my room.
Looking for a teleportation spell. The
Yeah,
easiest
okay.
way to transport would be to go talk to the druids. You would know that.
Why would you go to the druids?
Because I'm a druid?
Oh, I get that. That's obvious.
You're not still salty about the war crimes trial that we had, are you?
No. I was asking if it was for like to get money or something along those lines.
Yeah, pretty much.
How much money do we need?
I don't know how much money the group needs, but I'm not going to take a long trip into the ice plane without a little gold in my pockets.
How much is a little gold?
I don't know. That's what I was going to talk to the druids
Well, the
about.
reason why I'm asking is because I have over 500.
Well,
I was a mercenary before this. I also do some gambling on the side. And on top of that, I don't really use my gold. Most of the time, I just barter.
Hmm?
Which is
Well,
why
we
I
have no
collect
idea where we're going, so it's a good idea to have it. Look, you hold on to your gold. We have no idea how much this trip is going to cost us in the long run. I've never traveled to another plane before. I'll take care of it. And with that, I go scurrying out of the tavern and run to the druid. And now I kind of have an idea of what maybe other adventurers carry in their purses, which I would not have known before. So I'm going to ask them for 500 gold.
Oh my.
Alright, so as you get to the head druid's place, and they know everything that you've been up to over the last couple of days, you're granted entrance with a relative quickness. y'all are gonna love this. It's like, oh, Viridia, what is it?
Well, we've decided, that group of people that I landed with since you told me I couldn't stay here. Well, we've made what I'm hoping is an intelligent choice for once. We've decided, wait, this doesn't sound like an intelligent choice at all. But we've decided to try to track the salamander, the frost salamander, back where it came from, presumably to a gate on the plane of ice, maybe. Anyway,
But not to interrupt you, my dear, but the plane of ice.
That's where they come from. And apparently they're attracted to warm things. So I'm assuming the attraction of Evermist with our beautiful hearth fires will make that not the first one. And I'm hoping to, maybe close whatever little rift is in between the planes. I don't really know how to do that. But, I suppose as a druid of Shepherd, I'm sort of obligated to try. Anyway,
Well,
but I
you
don't
can
know anything
choose
about
to.
the. Well, I suppose that's true. But anyway, I'm going because, Lord knows, it would be probably an even worse disaster without me. I mean, I'm not saying I'm all cool and everything, but have you? Oh, anyway, they're lovely people. They're lovely people, and so I need some gold.
At this point, he leans back, crosses his legs, and the next thing you hear is, "So, tell us about your party."
You met them. They were on trial for war crimes like 2 weeks ago.
This would be about the time because I gave chase because the Druids was the first place I was going to go to look for a teleportation spell.
Alright, so about this time, you hear Kalora outside of the hut you're in, go running through and start asking. You can hear them quite loudly asking people for this, and the high druid that you're speaking to goes, "Oh, you have a point."
They were on trial
Well,
for war crimes like 2 weeks ago.
one must do what one must do.
I don't know anything really about how money works, but I do know that we need it elsewhere. And I don't know anything about the plane of ice. So, is there a special currency I need to get or something?
No special currency, but
Cool. Then I need to put in a requisition form for 500 gold, and I will pay it back if I return.
that seems like a rather risky investment. But all that
I wouldn't
aside,
really call it an investment so much as a mitigating factor in general community safety.
my dear, it sounds almost like you're asking me to pay you off to go off yourself.
No! Well, not on purpose anyway.
Am I in earshot of this?
No, this is happening in a closed door.
It's me and the chief druid. I'm good.
So tell me why so much. Why must I come up? Why 500? What?
That's what everybody else has in their
That's what everyone else has in their
Well,
pockets?
I don't know about everyone, but the mage, the wizard, has these super expensive perfumes. I don't need perfume really, but
What's the
but
wizard's
she seems-
name?
Aspen, and she seems to have a lot of gold.
Oh.
And
As you say, she seems to have a lot of gold. He looks at you and says, "Wait for it."
yeah, I forgot my character's name.
What'd you scare him? Wisp.
Wisp. And Wisp, Wisp didn't want me to come and ask you for the gold because he wanted to just give me some of his gold, but that didn't seem fair, and it wouldn't really help out the party overall because I wouldn't be contributing gold. We'd just be shifting where it came from. And anyway, but he had 500 gold in his pocket. He told me so himself. Now the bird, you know, I might have to cover the bird. So let's call that 250 for me and 250 for the bird. Does that sound more reasonable?
Roll a persuasion check because they do know that they can hear the bird, so you get advantage.
Oh!
Look, I've got a.
That's all that you're like. That's all that's gonna get is they get advantage because you're actually kind of an influencing part of the decision.
I'm outside. Look.
One of those is a 20.
Boom!
As they look up, it's like, well, your cat friend's at least going to be able to hold his own. The wizard, I can tell you wholeheartedly, if she hasn't broke by now, she will be. Have you ever seen what they have to go through in order to gain their magic? They don't commune with nature and let the spirits of the universe give them their gifts. No.
That's right, they have to pay for it. I didn't
They
give that much thought.
study and research and experiment
And you gotta buy books, and you gotta buy components.
and you've got
And
to
all
buy
the
spare
speakers.
components, and yes. So, what you thought was a lot of money for that girl is more than likely nothing. And I would also point out that she probably just took her privilege from the refugee's vessel, being the Queen's vizier at one point in her existence.
Well, I mean...
Which means she robbed the royals to get her shit.
I don't think she had to rob the royals. I understand that Queen Aurora was exceptionally generous for a monarch if you're into that sort of thing. Anyway.
I read. I don't.
That is pretty common knowledge, actually, in the history books, so you would know that. Aside from the fact she's a character you made.
Right. Well, it was something we actually did establish in that game, was that she was somewhat uncommonly generous.
Exactly, which worked out beautifully. So, all things considered, and that natural 20 definitely weighing in where it needed to.
Yeah, right?
And to the chats, if anybody's listening, you got your way. Justice for Viridia.
Yeah.
And the dice gave it to her, not me. He looks at you. You raise a solid point as he hears Kalora looking for somebody to provide a teleportation spell. Where does your bird friend want to go? I'll cover the teleportation myself to a tree near wherever the spot is.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't think we communicated. My guess would be somewhere where those salamander bones actually have value. They're useless here, but I would assume that in a warmer climate, they'd be as valuable as the heart is.
Well, that could definitely benefit you.
You could definitely hear me saying, I will split what I make with you if you can get me there and back.
To somebody.
There's one random passerby. Yeah. This is like, well, and hearing this, he looks like, here's what we're going to do. I will give you 250 gold for you.
Thank you.
And 450 gold for the repair bill for the bird.
Your wisdom is, as always,
The repair
inspiring.
bill? Am I going to need a veterinarian?
Now, if you excuse me, unless you'd like to join me, I need to step outside and deal with someone who's disrupting what little peace and quiet I was having today.
Of course, I'm so sorry.
And about this time...
But hold on.
Yes.
I apologize. I am so sorry for taking you from your more important work of the day. And I reach into my satchel and I pull out some of my best gold Toby and I hand it to him as an offering of gratitude.
Much thanks, my dear. And, do us a favor. For your mental anguish on your journey.
And
Ironically, an old Celtic tradition, give a gift and receive a gift.
Right. And I bow and back out of his tent so that he can get back home.
It's like, he follows you out of the tent and said, you might as well come along, we can collect your baggage. And the next thing you hear,
If I have time to pack, I'm taking part with me.
Why are you in love with my dice bag?
who knows, but the next thing you hear is this druid goes around and you hear, you there, bird person,
Yes, sir.
stop disrupting my evening.
I just need to find somebody who can do what I need.
What do you need?
I need to get to Kavarsta? Kastara.
Kilstar.
Roll an intelligence save.
Oh no.
The difficulty's 5. You just heard it.
That was Viridia who had told her how to say it.
Nat 20.
For 19.
For 19? Okay. Ding! The name of the town actually comes in.
Kastara.
Okay.
But I need to get back, and I will give half of whatever I make to whoever gets me there and back.
What are you transporting?
About, what was it, 700 and some odd pounds of...
750 is what I told you.
750 pounds of frost salamander tailbone
And ribs.
and ribs.
Uh-huh. Very well. That being the case, I can make sure that happens under one condition. Well, a few conditions. Number 1, you leave my grove and go back to the tavern where you belong until tomorrow morning at 11:45 a.m. sharp. And then, do you see that great big oversized oak over there?
I do.
I expect you and anybody who is going with you to be in front of that oak.
Alright, I shall be going to bed thusly.
That would, and he looks over at you. You want to go there.
I bow to your superior wisdom.
Better make sure I come with.
Well, you got to go back to the tavern to talk about that. But tonight, I recommend you take Laura Leaf up on her offer.
Is there something wrong with my hut?
No, it may be your last chance to sleep in a feather bed for a very long time.
Well, I haven't even. Oh. Okay, but look, I have kidneys, eyeballs, and liver, and if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to have time to process them. Can I bring them to the druids of the land and see if they can have medicine made from them or some such thing?
We'll just keep them preserved for you, dear.
Thank you. They're in the root cellar, underneath the bed. I
Oh,
have
the
yet to
apprentice.
sleep in.
You were one of the lucky ones that the apprentices let the root cellar have access to.
Well, that would be lovely, and I suppose at some point I will have access to the root cellar and possibly the bed that it's right underneath.
Oh, you shouldn't be gone more than a few days. It'll be fine.
And I
do
take
apologize for the
the,
inconvenience.
let's see, you actually handed me a total of 700 gold.
Yes. It's, by the way, incredibly heavy.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. So is that like in a chest? Like how is it
Triple reinforced leather sack.
sack? One more thing. Can I have a goat?
You sure you don't want an ass?
Oh wait, no, that's right. I just need a cart.
just a cart. And if you want to rickshaw it through Kastara, that's your business. And he said, very well, just take one of the carts that's over by the gardens. You know the ones.
Okay.
Nothing with more than 2 wheels, please.
I go over and I grab a rickshaw. I put the bag on the little rickshaw
Make
style
sure,
cart.
Jack.
Does it have a harness on it?
What, the cart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I get down on all fours and I put my head and body into the harness and then I wild shape into a goat.
And go walking up the...
And head to my hut.
Alright. You get there in relatively no time at all.
And I start packing. I'm going to take the liver and the kidneys and the eyeballs back to the grove. However, I'm putting the jar that has the heart into it right into my regular backpack.
How are you carrying all this stuff as a goat?
It's on a cart.
I'm wild shaped when
Wild
I'm
shape
not
in,
out.
then wild shape out. She can do it twice per day so she can get back on the
So
cart.
I could even get, when I'm
Okay.
done, I could even. Also,
And there's cart parking behind
while
the
I'm-
cheerful
While
traveler.
I'm unwild shaped, I'm going to reinforce and make the cart a better cart. When I re-wild shape, I'm going to wild shape into a very large, big, majestic mountain goat. Full curls on the
Alright.
After
So,
getting into the harness first, of course.
or you got your answer and headed back to the tavern.
First
Caloric-
person I'm going to talk to is Aspen.
Wisp is still chilling at the tavern, last I heard.
Yeah.
So is Aspen.
So Wisp and Aspen are still waiting there as you get back. You're prancing your little goatee self back in the long run.
Yeah, but I'm way behind her at this point because I had to pack and do all
And
that
she
stuff.
flies. Yeah. So that would bring us to where? Wisp, I believe.
Sure.
Well, actually, technically, with the way things have been bouncing everywhere, it would be you.
Okay.
So, about after eating your meal, helping with the large amount of crab that is more than enough to stuff a reasonably 8-man platoon.
I ain't any of that.
Anything of it?
I ate the rations whenever I left.
It's true.
That's true, but there's food and things like that, so if you'd like to help, you can.
I'm just gonna sit there and drink some like tea.
So as you sit there drinking your tea, quietly, Aspen's kind of just chilling there with you at this point. Both of you are sitting in silence, question mark?
I'm playing with Pepe,
She's playing with a skunk at your table.
but not Pepe, Mephits. I gotta get his name right.
Mephits the Stinky.
I'm going to be sitting there with my tea and my little bug, and I'm going to be feeding him pieces of like fat that I pulled off of the head of the salamander when I was trying to nibble on it.
He seems to devour it without a problem.
Okay. I might as well feed him while I have him.
So, you can see him feeding this thing pieces of what looks like the flesh of that salamander.
Hey, don't be feeding that to my skunk. I
No,
don't
not
want
to your
skunk.
skunk, to
To
his
my
bug.
scarab.
Oh.
My beetle.
To the beetle on his shoulder.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I ain't saying shit to him. I'm feeding pieces of crab to my skunk. I'm playing with Mephits.
So y'all are just sitting there playing with your pets, quietly, minding your business.
Yeah.
And Kalora walks in looking very satisfied and sees both Aspen and Wisp basically just paying attention and being good pet parents.
Aspen,
Yeah.
you said you were from Kastara?
Yes.
We're going in the morning.
I'm going home?
Via teleportation, apparently.
How did you manage this, bird brain?
I annoyed the right person.
Who did you annoy?
I don't know his name, but he told me he'd get me there. and possibly back. I didn't quite confirm if he'd get me back. Tomorrow morning at 11:45. But I have to stay out of the grove all night. That's how I know I annoyed him.
I can see that. I can understand that. Okay. Alright, so 11:45. Well, let's make sure we're there on time.
Big oak tree in the grove.
The big oak tree in the grove. Thank you. Thank you for telling me. Hey, you know where my tower is, right? There's stuff there that I'm going to need for this trip.
I do.
I'm not asking to resurrect some crazy fucking demon. I'm not high enough. I ain't trying that shit again. Less than 65 years ago almost.
I cannot remember where you told me that was, GM, but I would convey the information. You proved yourself not trying to kill us, so fine. I don't remember where it is as a player. It's a couple miles to the in one direction with Kastara.
It's about a 2-month trip for you to fly in a straight line to get there.
Yeah, but we're going through the portal.
So it'll take about 45 seconds.
They're saying they don't remember where my tower is. I just asked them about going back to the tower, and they're saying as a player they don't remember.
Yeah.
It's actually about 20 miles north of Kastara and set inside into the mountains.
There you go.
Okay.
You would know that. As far as you know, it's your tower.
Well, I didn't because
I, the player, remembered that, but Viridian's not know. Viridian's also not there yet.
Viridian
She's
is
a
also-
ghost.
She's a goat. Oh, prancing her way up.
because of my regeneration every so often, I don't remember where my tower was. That's something that we had discussed. Is that my tower was lost to me.
Ish.
Yeah.
You're also a very recognizable entity. People may run in terror seeing you show back up.
Was it north, south, east, or west of?
It's about 20 miles north, sent into the foothills.
I
Well-
pull into the courtyard.
Alright, you are now in the courtyard, in a wagon. Well, harnessed to a wagon as a very large mountain goat. It's loud enough y'all can hear this from outside. You hear what sounds like lamb chops whisper.
Oh no.
Thing.
I get up and go outside to hear the baying goat.
This goat is pulling a 2-wheel cart. There's a very large sack in the back of it.
Rydia? Is that you? Are you going to need change of clothes when you wild form back? No? Okay. I thought you were asking for help. Do you want to get unharnessed? Walk over and unhook
It's about, it's a lot of weight that you've been pulling across town.
Yeah. I turned back into a druid. Now I gotta wait 12 hours till I can shift again. Anyway, I wasn't able to get us to go to pull this cart, but we should be able to put all of our stuff on it. Did you have any idea? Did you know that 700 gold weighs a lot?
I bet.
But most of it's for paying for
700 ounces.
repairs in case Kalora bumps into stuff. But I think we're supplied.
I don't bump into stuff. I hit it with force, usually intentionally.
Well, I was trying so hard to be polite.
But you called me clumsy rather than destructive.
I
You
will.
claimed yourself was clumsy. Hun, I'm only telling you something that we've already
Oh
known
yeah.
about you.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to slander you. I really was trying to be nice.
Calora's brain cells are fried.
So what time is
I
it
need to use the
currently?
restroom.
I cast.
It's a
In Wolf?
in Nox. It is roughly about 5:30 in the evening after all this running around and doing stuff.
Okay, I just
And
wanted
IRL
to make
saving.
sure because
Yeah, it'd be about 5. It'd be about supper time by now. You all have actually been running around town all day.
I just wanted to make sure so that way I knew how much time we had for the 12-hour, if they would be able to turn back into the goat, or if we had to like make a backup plan and go get a goat.
Well, we can spend the night. We can have dinner, spend the night.
Yeah.
And that'll give you the 12 hours. But we should probably try to get a goat,
That's what I wanted to know.
something sturdy, or maybe a donkey.
That'll do. That'll do.
The cart's a little small for a full Mustang.
I mean, technically everybody needs to. Never mind.
Everybody needs some donkey.
I was gonna say technically everybody needs some ass, but it's like, I
Wow.
don't want to go there.
Wow!
Yeah, like, wow, dude.
I saw that coming.
Right?
Yeah, I was trying to avoid
Why'd you ask?
it. Because I wanted to make sure I was
so
right.
what's better, seeing it coming or hearing it
Oh my god. Oh my
Because if
god.
you see it, you go blind.
coming? Right? And if you hear it, it's just Catholic.
Only inside the rectory.
Look, if you hear ass, the chances are good you're gonna want to get out of the room fairly quickly. I'm just saying.
Yes.
So in real life, Eclipse
Okay.
is all over her dice bag.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know, but all right. So you get your 8 hours, like you were saying, and the question is, how long are you willing to pull around the cart?
Well, I prefer not to pull it all the way to the ice plane.
Gesundheit.
Plane device, maybe.
Are there any stables on there, or like places where you can buy a horse or anything like that?
I mean, maybe if we got a really small, like, Shetland pony or a Mustang,
I
but
didn't
the
put
cart's a
anything
little
like
small
that
for a
on the
horse.
map, but I'm sure somewhere in the town there is a stable to buy horses. It's not on the map.
I mean, if not, there could just be a place like a little farm that's got goats and shit.
Yeah.
You could definitely, if you took some
Well, the
time, find a place to
Mossfoots.
buy one.
Well, it's like
Yeah, the Mossfoots
you
do
said-
stuff.
Mossfoots have ghosts and ponies.
You said it's like 5:30, so I'm gonna start wandering around looking for a goat since Brady had mentioned needing a goat.
Or a donkey.
I'm going to cast Tiny Servant on the items in the cart and have them bring themselves up to Verdia's room.
The bag is incapable, and a tiny servant does have a weight limit.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, and the bag weighs, I did the math, that's what I was in my phone for,
Oh,
Okay.
Lord.
750 1-ounce coins of gold. Weighs a whopping 47 pounds, give or take.
Yo.
Well, that's not bad.
That's actually not bad. Hang on, let me
My
check out the
backpack
weight
is
limit for that
regularly
spell.
50 to 75
So you're not wrong,
pounds.
it does have a weight limit.
Unless you animated every stupid little coin and you don't have that many spell slots.
No, I don't.
Not to mention there is other stuff in that bag.
In
Yeah.
the coin bag?
Yeah, there are wet organs in there.
So,
Oh.
no,
Oh, yeah.
I gave those to the druids except for the heart, which is in a jar,
Oh yeah,
and will keep me warm.
the glass jar.
But
Whatever.
I've got my travel clothes in there. There's a cloak in there, and then there's all the rations that were already in my regular adventurer's backpack. It's just that now there's also 700 gold in the adventurer's backpack also. Well, actually in its own satchel, but
Let's say we're not gonna talk about all the weird stuff I carry on my person.
And that is 100%
Looks like I've got-
viable.
a jar of vervain, a small jar of belladonna, a bushel of drying monkshood, a gallon jar of mistletoe sprigs, which is good because mistletoe is a spell component I need fairly quickly.
That's
Enough for healing
Can I get a
herbs
copy
for
of
3
Vampire
healing
real
kits,
put
black coash
Table.
in a standard mason jar.
it.
I also have in a standard mason jar bay leaves, bleeding heart, mandrake, and then I have 6 to 7 jars of teeth. The teeth wound up in my cut. When I packed and repacked, the teeth got left.
Fair. Okay, so
I have like maybe 10 teeth on me, because you can use them to grind them up as a spell component.
Teeth of what?
that's fair.
Honestly, they're various human teeth.
Okay.
I tried to identify from the witch's
Oh, okay.
hut. What I have left is what can be identified.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm not sure what this tooth come from, but it's a tooth.
I don't comprehend
What?
tiny servant. I do, but like, I'm
Okay.
to answer the weight limit question. I can't comprehend.
Okay, so it has a strength of 4. It's immune to poison psionics, or poison psychic,
That doesn't help us.
immune to being blinded, charmed,
But how
deafened, exhausted. It has strength of 4, so no, it actually cannot lift that.
I wouldn't think so. I can barely lift it.
See, and that's why I said I don't comprehend the answer to that, because I knew the answer was in the book, but it wasn't telling me of the way I could comprehend it.
Yeah, strength of 4 doesn't tell you much, but the
Right.
average strength is 10. And so 4 is enough below 10 that there's no way they're going to be able to haul 75 pounds of gold, 45 pounds of gold up the stairs. Well, yeah.
It's like you could tell a broom to fill a well using or to fill a basin using a 1-gallon bucket, and as long as that one broom kept going until the task was complete, it would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That was gonna be an option, so I don't cast that spell, and we just figure out how to move the cart to the little shed somewhere.
Well, that's what I thought this was, so
No,
that's
that's
where
the
I put-
fireplace.
Oh.
That's the main central furnace.
Like
Okay,
that.
we'll just say that that's the little yard out there.
Okay, that works.
And then you were with me, right? That's you, right?
Yeah, I come out to visit you.
This
Yeah,
is
that would be like a
Chris,
porch
right?
area.
Yes, Chris is still just hanging out with us.
So, you'll notice that somewhere in the course of things, Ronan has retired to his room. He seemed pretty wiped out after that fight. I mean,
Which further indicates that we should spend one more night here.
Uh-huh.
We can finish gearing up and oh, check out my new bow.
Oh, that is a gorgeous weapon.
Is it not? I do need to go and get arrows because I accidentally gave all my arrows away this afternoon.
Let me know when you get a quiver of arrows. I have something I've been wanting to experiment on. Magic arrows.
You want to come to the blacksmith shop with me?
Why
she
not?
loves taking a break to experiment with new weapons.
Why not? Let's do this.
Our cart is too small, I think.
Well, want to try to find a better one? I mean, I just made that out of a rickshaw. All right, you look for a wagon. We're gonna go find new ways to make arrows go boom. You sure you don't want to join us?
I have quite a lot of bone that needs hauled to Castaro with us.
Yeah, and we're gonna go in the morning. But right now, we need to let you sleep.
Yes.
Right? So 12 hours. We got at least
Also,
12 hours before we leave.
for the record, Kalora's looking pretty fraggin' rough, too.
Actually, you should sleep.
I'm going to. I just want to make sure that there's a cart that'll hold all the bone.
Well, you've been dragging it this far, but yes, let's find a larger wagon. Go find a larger wagon and have Wisp help you if he will. And
Ah, it will be.
Aspen and I are going to go splody arrows.
You guys are gonna make explodey arrows?
I think that was the general idea.
Arrows
we're
that
gonna
do
try.
shit.
Now that I have a new bow, I have to buy new arrows anyway, so we might as well go to the shop.
I can make poison arrows, fire arrows, maybe
I'm
even
specifically
lightning
going
arrows.
looking for
I don't
a
know.
recently vacated merchant.
Necrotic arrows.
Oh,
I'm looking for a recently
Oh.
vacated merchant's cart.
I need bear heads.
Let's see what
I'm assuming they're not illegal in Nox Vitalia.
what's a bear head?
The head of a bear.
No, I'm talking about an
Arrow.
arrowhead for bears. They're illegal all over the U.S.
Broadhead.
Of course, no. Well, yes, they are a
It's
type of
broadhead.
It's a type of broadhead.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And you can totally look for those. Those are actually a form of bodkin arrow.
Would
I know.
Actually, more directly, they are a bodkin arrow, which is why they're banned in the United States, because they'll punch through plate mail.
I know. Like a hot knife through butter.
Would
Anyway.
hag skin be good to give them for their poison arrows?
I was
That hag adrenal gland almost for sure.
Well, hag skin is poisonous,
Ooh, yay.
like extremely poisonous. And I
Yeah.
have
You
a
have to
full.
boil it down first.
I
Yeah,
have the
that's
full skin.
something you and I are going to experiment as a PvP later on.
Alright,
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know.
you all, those are things that you...
Okay, so here's what I'm asking. Out of the things that I have hag blood, I have hag adrenaline, I have hag skin, I have sea hag ash.
And none of those components have actually been broken down yet. They're in the raw form.
Yep.
So they're not going to be usable just yet. We still have to figure out how to break them down into usable spell components.
Okay, because I was gonna say I have frosted claws, I have.
Yeah, all of that has to be broken down and powdered and dried and
Okay.
liquefied.
Would a jar of corrosive mushroom juice be effective for like arrows and shit?
I'm using
Yeah.
magic, not quite
You're trying to
dipping
follow
them.
this?
Okay, I just figured I would ask.
Yeah, but that is something I want to experiment with you.
I mean,
But-
if you want to come with us and we can test out various things.
I have all kinds of stuff.
Wait,
Like-
we're gonna need live prey if we're gonna test poison.
Like I have
Yeah,
a
and-
smorgasbord
At the
of.
same time, like I
of
said,
materials.
the components are not broken down. They're still in the raw form.
Yeah, let's try the enchanting thing first. We can experiment on
Yeah,
the
let's-
poisons.
Let's work
Okay.
on breaking your poisons down into a component form.
Okay, so we go back to the blacksmith
Are you okay?
to use her little
Maybe
range out in the back.
Intelligence is really setting in.
Yeah, like, she's been trying to sit here following this whole conversation, so you were honestly asked in character, are you okay?
I didn't respond.
Kalora, are you alive?
Alive, yes.
Are you okay?
Kalora, sweetheart, did you want to go find us the best wagon there is?
I'm going to. I think I know of a recently vacated merchant's cart.
Excellent. We'll meet you back here in 2 hours.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Kalora to keep an eye on Kalora.
That's a good call, my friend. That's a good call.
Kalora's like this far from starting to take damage from thinking too hard.
You
The
guys-
druid and the wizard, though, we're deep in our like, ooh, what can
And the
we do
warlock
next?
comes over and goes, oh, and how about this?
Ooh, I have a
Brilliant,
spell.
you guys.
You can learn any spell you can study. Am I correct?
Almost. Almost. There are some spells that are specifically class only. So, like, there are some that are specifically druid only, and I cannot learn them. The very few, but there is a handful of them. Specifically bard spells.
Can you
I'm gonna eat that last
thunder
sandwich.
wave?
I might be able to learn that spell. It might
You
be
have no
my-
clue.
I don't.
You know what? We're gonna have to like do the actual research, but like in RP, now the druid and the wizard have decided to sit down and go through the druid's anthology of spells to see which ones she can learn. And I'm going to teach her all the magic that I can teach her.
Okay.
Like, but after we're done at the blacksmith's, because we're just going to enchant arrows and exploding them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Love
gonna be
you
fun.
guys so much.
And I'm going to buy 60 arrows after we're done. Like, so all the arrows we buy at
Like
exploding,
what, 2
and then
silver for 20?
Okay. Yeah, so we gotta buy a bunch just to explode, and then I'll buy 60 on top of that to take with me.
Okay, you do have enough money for the research and the development of the enchanted arrows as per our discussion.
That's good to know because I completely forgot about that, and that's why I was going to ask if they needed money.
No, they don't need money.
Not anymore.
Yeah, but I wasn't part of them going out.
Yeah.
and
Excellent.
Well, you could ask them if they need. Well, you would have
So,
noticed
that's
the
something I
large bag of gold. I mean, it's 46
Yeah.
pounds of gold sitting in the back of the fragging truck cart. You're gonna notice that.
Oh, yeah.
I can teach you Thunderwave because I have
46 pounds of 1 ounce
Okay.
coins. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 46 and 7/8 of a pound. So
Yeah.
definitely
that. So here's how
more gold than
the verbal,
you really want to just be lugging around.
the
Yeah,
crescendos and
I kinda figured that.
the words.
What's the value of 8 platinum? So I have a couple of those. That's why I was wondering.
So what?
What is the value of a platinum? I have
10 gold.
Okay.
So basically, you could take that 700 gold, and you could knock it down to 70 platinum.
I did that as well.
At which point it weighs 70 ounces, which is much easier to carry around than.
Yeah. Well, I have some platinum.
Here's
That's
the
what I was
level
asking.
2 spells.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Keep that for rainy days.
And one part
Platinum will put
yeah.
you up in a tavern for, or
I
a
also have
nice
3
inn
level 3
for like a
spells when we
month
get there.
Well, I mean, like,
in royal accommodations.
yeah, I mean, like within like the first 2 or 3 things that you did, I ended up with like
Did you
80
see?
platinum. That's why I was wondering.
Oh, I know.
The
You haven't noticed
no.
people are slowly but surely going broke, and the party is not as rich as they thought they were.
I still have my platinum.
Uh-huh.
It's in a chest somewhere.
Where?
It's in my chest that I usually carry when I'm traveling.
Where did you leave that chest?
That is the verbal commitment I did for that spell.
See,
Speak with
me,
animals,
like,
right?
the
That's
only reason why
one of
I
those
Okay.
spells that are not on my list. That's one
So-
that I cannot learn.
Okay.
With where we are going, as everybody is now seeming to be in the plotting ranks for against and for the DM, I'd say that this is a good spot for us to call it for the night. It's also a little bit after 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, again, thank you for joining us. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, comment. Tell us we're jerkwads if you need to.
The likes and subscribes are very, very helpful.
Don't
Share it with
share
your
it.
friends just in case they actually want to watch us do this. And as always, dear friends,
Live long and
live
prosper.
long and prosper.
And have a great night. Bye!